Is that the trophy?
That is the trophy.
Okay, I gotta say, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
What is this trophy for?
40K.
Yeah, that's right.
I won a thing.
Did
You did. Look, I'm on screen.
You are
Marc.
on screen.
Did that person? Did you get in touch with that person that?
Oh yeah,
told
they play a different kind of Warhammer.
Oh really?
Yeah, they play
Like a worse kind or a better
well,
kind?
like a video game kind.
Oh.
Not in 40K?
No, it's Warhammer Fantasy.
Okay.
So it's not like
No, it's
good
in
quality.
like no, it's pretty low quality.
So that does make sense to me. Also, because they said they have like a Discord bot that does all the rankings, and I was like, how would you do that with tabletop? Right?
Yeah, I figured it was gonna be like Tabletop Simulator.
Hey Alex,
Based
you
on
wanna grab your mic?
Yeah.
My butt pillow.
We're off to a
Nice. For
great
anybody who is doing the audio only, we have MadMagical on, and he is currently stacked all of our pillows on top of his head.
Not all.
And
I've got
Then
one.
they fell on me.
Yeah, they fell.
But you know, it
All right,
is,
there we
it
go.
is
Now
what
I've
it
got
is.
the microphone.
anyway,
hold the ground.
You should be able to adjust. Yeah.
For anyone else who is also audio only, there is what is called a bolt pistol currently sitting in the middle of the table where we normally have like Rise and Trinity and everything like that. I recently won a 40K event, and this was my trophy. It's pretty cool.
Well,
it's
so-
also very big.
First off,
Where'd your hat go?
claps. Second off,
You took
how many players
take
were
it
in
off.
this tournament?
20, somewhere between 20 and 30. It was a league, so
But how many Josh Howards were there?
there was only one, and I was the best one.
Good. That's all that's important.
That's all that really matters.
That is all that matters.
Does that play into your world ranking at all?
It does not.
It does not. Okay.
No, I wish it did, but honestly, like the players who participated in it, not very good at Warhammer, but all very cool people that I played against.
Did you zoom in on that one? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that's been. I mean, it sounds like you've met some nice folks doing this.
They're
Definitely a fun part of it.
the worst thing that has happened playing 40K so far
Lost?
didn't happen to me. Well, I did lose to Steve in a tournament. So
Yeah,
that was pretty
I
bad.
did hear about that. I think that would be the worst.
That was
honestly.
pretty
Losing
bad.
to Steve. Marc
He-
wouldn't know that, though, because he beat him in Yu-Gi-Oh!
True. The worst thing I have seen is Lennon Mazel, and I gotta preface this with the fact I love Lennon, but he is a salty bitch when he loses.
Oh.
Okay. Now, unfortunately, he was playing up against somebody who was also a salty bitch.
Oh.
Okay. And what ended up happening was they got in an argument over something very simple, and the other guy ended up threatening to take Lennon outside and fight them in the parking lot.
Over Warhammer.
Over
Wait,
Warhammer.
How large was this man to try to
Not very
fight
large.
Lennon?
Because Lennon's a
He's-
big dude, too.
This guy was probably like, I would guess like 5'10" and like
Yeah,
200
Lennon's
pounds
like
or something.
6'3". He's
Yeah,
just almost as
my
tall as
money
me.
is on Lennon.
I mean, to be fair, the other guy was like, he looked strong.
Okay.
But still, it was like
Just from
the quote that Lennon said the other guy gave was, "You look like you've never fought a man in your life," and Lennon was like, "You don't fucking know me." Like, apparently Lennon knows how to fight. Is all I'm saying.
I will say, fighting's actually not that hard as long as you understand center of gravity of yourself and the person you're fighting.
Also, bitch, he is from Texas.
Yeah, he's
True.
from Texas. But anyway,
I'm saying size is an advantage, though.
it is an
It
advantage.
is.
I just
Center
think
of
the
gravity is
funniest
more of
thing,
an
the funniest
advantage.
thing was the guy
Oh.
who was running the event. It was the first ever time he was a TO, and also the first and only event that I have seen or heard of where there is violence threatened. Like I talked to a couple of the other people who are like regulars who have been going to events for longer than I have. And they're like, I'd never seen anything like that. So it just happens to Lennon.
Wow.
I will say, since we're gonna go down a rabbit hole now, for what it's worth, food running a little bit late. We were late to order, and props to Rafa as he was determined.
Hold on.
We gotta just
Can we
stop
also
there.
give props to Rafa real quick? Because that is the cleanest focus on a camera we've had this entire season of podcasts.
Also a bit of Manny, but mostly, yeah. These are Marky Mark's cameras. But Rafa was determined to get MadMagical the Japanese food that was requested.
I do like,
and we did
I
not.
do like Japanese food.
We did not go with sushi because I believe how Marc said it. We don't want to shame MadMagical by trying to get sushi.
Trying to get sushi
So-
takeout.
To go sushi and we fed that to Magical and be like spitting in his face.
So for people who don't know,
What about spitting in his mouth?
I was a manager of a sushi bar for about 13 years.
Was it 13?
Yeah.
Now, I mean,
a lot of years.
We've talked about this.
How old are
before.
you again?
It was 2008 when I started working there.
How old are you again?
And it closed in 2021.
Yeah.
I am 32.
Okay, so you were 19. Or probably younger.
No.
Wow.
So I stopped working there when I was 30 because it closed in 2021, the beginning.
Ooh.
And like it closed for good reasons though. The owners wanted to retire. They had been
Fair.
running it since 2004, and their daughters had all graduated college. And they were like, we're just tired.
Yeah.
One of them had beaten cancer. The other had both her knees replaced. So they were kind of like, this is really hard. And they even said the only reason they kept the place open as long as they did was because of me. Because I was doing duty of like trying to become a caster.
Yeah.
And the way that I funded that was by working all day long, 6 days a week at a sushi bar, managing it.
Yeah, and
So-
I mean, so when I first came to LA, we went to Sugarfish, a sushi place.
Sounds
with
pretty
you.
good.
Now I'm allergic to shellfish, so I can't be as adventurous when it comes to sushi, unfortunately. But you ordered pretty much for the table,
Mark,
and
give me one of the big bowls, like the big ceramic bowls.
we're low on bowls.
Those are too small. The earthenware one.
Hey, we're low on bowls. I did run the dishwasher. If you want to grab one of
Nice.
those, Mark. This is the opener to the
I
podcast.
did
by the way.
take all
I
the dishes
had
that were
this
in my
great
room
one.
out.
You said 2008, right?
2008.
You started working there when I was 8 years old, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
I was. So if I'm born in 1991, that means I started there when I was 17,
Wow.
which is when I started working there.
Hold on, I'm
Because I was
gonna.
in high school.
We're gonna be quiet here and let Josh focus because he's about to pour curry into a bowl
Curry
on the
udon.
couch.
Clean.
I
Clean
really
pour.
hope the mics pick that up.
Absolutely beautiful. Did you see the technique he had there? Fluid.
Honestly,
Solid.
what Josh just did, I will say, I do like to. I've been made fun of recently when I pour wine and it's like dripping down the bottle. I do lick the
Okay.
bottle. Yeah,
Respect.
he just did that with styrofoam. I feel like that's way worse. Either way, one of the cooler things when we got sushi, you said that when you were a manager there, they actually let you go buy the meat,
Yeah.
for the fish.
Well, they taught me how to.
Yes.
So I know how to like look at good quality fish and stuff. So it is funny when I go buy fish, I am very particular on it because I can tell,
you know some things.
I can tell like what is good, what parts of the meat you can or should eat, what parts you can have raw, what parts you can have cooked and stuff like that. It's stuff I learned because also the sushi chefs kind of taught me how to cut the fish itself too. There was a couple times where I actually had to sub in as a sushi chef with no actual formal training. Granted, I didn't do anything fancy. I was cutting like salmon sushi and California rolls, which are if you don't know a California roll, it's the most basic thing.
I mean, that's like one of the few things I can actually eat safely. you
Yes,
know?
I like that because it's imitation crab. It's not real.
Yes.
Yeah, so there you go. And so I know way more about sushi than I really should, honestly.
I'm
More than I do.
Cali rolls, Cali rolls, and Philly rolls for life.
I hate cream cheese.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cream cheese and
I don't-
sushi is heresy.
It is, but like that's about all I can enjoy.
It's
well,
understandable because you do have the allergy to shellfish, which does kind of gimp you in a lot of ways.
it does.
Like, there's so many good things that involve shellfish that it just unfortunately can't have. Like, of course, I still know like plenty of things you could have that would be fine for you that I think you would enjoy.
that.
But some of them could be out there. Thai tea is always good.
Mark, sit down.
I'm working on it.
I want to finally
What,
be able
is it
to
my
run
face?
the lower third and see how wrong it is.
What's up?
All right,
Alright.
get ready. Oh, look at that!
Oh.
Hey.
It's
Look at that.
actually as wrong as possible.
That is
Everybody is
beautiful.
Everybody
And
is
everyone
wrong.
is wrong. I absolutely adore that. Can we bring that back up? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, there we go. I'm Josh now.
Nice.
Hi, Matt.
I like this. I got a
How
fork.
you doing?
Good.
Yeah, that's good, Matt.
My
still have
favorite
to
recurring
fork
podcast thing that happens now is every week that lower third is wrong because I can't be bothered.
That is why I asked
Sit.
where I'm supposed to sit.
Honestly, I
And-
feel like Manny does it on purpose.
The other thing is, well, it's funny, and then
No,
the
like,
other
no,
thing
no,
is,
no, like subconsciously. It's not even like on purpose. It's like you're in the back of your mind. Your ego takes over. Like, you have your id and ego and all that stuff. It takes over, and it's like, how do I make sure to troll everybody further every time?
I
I
guess
don't even
so.
know I'm aware of it.
To be honest, I really just don't care. But the other thing that I think is funny is every week we set our camera level, and every week, I swear to God, take a look. That picture behind us gets more and more crooked.
All right, so
It is really cool.
this apartment is slanted.
Is it really?
It is, because when we put like you know, the what do you call those things to like hang a picture front?
A leveler.
A leveler.
Yeah.
Thank you. If we put that up there and like we look at the floor, like if we like put it on the floor.
Oh, it's one of those situations. Yeah.
it's-
I mean, then again, you guys are in like a very old part of Los Angeles.
A little bit.
So it's like I'm in a very old part of Anaheim. And so the house that I live in now was actually the house my grandpa built for my grandma back in the 1950s. And
That house was built by your family?
yes.
That's wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
my
really
family has lived in Orange County like since the 1950s.
Wow.
And, like my dad was raised in the house that I'm living in now.
cool. I mean, that's a hell of an investment in the first place.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
OC property prices.
oh, I would,
going up.
I mean, that house is on a massive plot of land in the middle of Anaheim too.
Yeah.
The the plot alone is worth millions.
Yeah.
But we would never sell it because of how much it means to the family. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, obviously the history that the whole family has. But going back to what you're saying, because that house is much older, it's funny living in that house compared to the house I lived in before with my parents, where that house was one of those pre-planned cookie cutter style houses that, you know, they copy paste all over the place.
Yeah.
So everything's perfectly level, all normal. You go in this house, you put something on the wall, and you're like, that looks crooked. You put the leveler up, and you're like, no, it's not. It's straight. And you're like, oh, the floor's crooked. Look at that.
Yeah.
I had a medicine ball, and like I was using it more early on. So like, I was like doing curl ups with it and, you know, Russian twist and stuff. And I would like lay it down and just start sliding towards the deck. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Now, Matt Magical,
What
you
up?
want to say before so topics for the day.
Uh-huh.
We are waiting actually for breaking news. I
Oh.
will say
It has not broken yet.
it has not broken yet. We're waiting for one piece of breaking news. Besides that,
Is it the news I know?
Yes.
Okay.
The news
It
that we
involves my doppelganger.
I knew it. I knew he was a fraud. He's an NPC the whole time.
know. Now we are going to talk about some challengers, of course, but also some LCS of the back half. But first off, you've been doing this for a long time. I just want to
Yes.
say congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
You got your first LCS cast this past week.
Woo!
The duck made it onto LCS.
And I'm
Poggers.
so happy they let me wear the hoodie.
Oh, I mean, first off, I will say the opening skit was pretty funny because for people that don't know, you probably had all those in your car.
Oh yeah,
The,
oh yeah.
The car. What was your
Well,
nickname for
okay.
it?
It was the prop car. It was
Yeah,
the
the
prop,
prop
car
car.
last year, but because we haven't been in studio, I did take everything out of it.
Oh, okay. The
So it
car
had-
was emptied.
But that was all in my closet. And that wasn't even half of what I have in my closet, too. That was just me and Julian talking and be like, all right, I sent him pictures of everything. And he picked and chose everything. The only thing that I really chose was the duck hoodie. That was the only thing where I'm like, I want this somewhere in it. And he's just like, okay, you know what? Fine. It sounds like your brand. He had no idea I was bringing the duck mask, by the way. He had no idea that was there. That was completely a shock when I came out wearing that. That was the first time he saw it.
Nice.
He had no clue that I was going to do that.
Yeah. We had good genuine reactions in the little skit we did.
That was fun, but also, you know, how did you get started in this? Because your start story, I think, is a lot more unique than, definitely mine. Because I was just COVID.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Exactly what your guy. I kind of know roughly what my roommates are here. But what was yours?
So, not to brag or anything, not to toot my own horn, but I was actually a fairly successful streamer back in the day, and that's actually true. I started off just streaming, and it was just me playing the game, and this was back when Twitch was not what it is today. This was 2014, 2015 Twitch.
Oh, so
This
very
was
early days.
Very early, back when they just merged with.
Yeah, I was about to
Justin
say.
TV.
Yeah, that because I remember the first streams I watched were on Own 3D or whatever
And
that
so
was. Yeah.
I started streaming on Twitch after the Justin TV merger. That was what was actually the bigger one of between Twitch and Justin, but they merged together and they decided to keep Twitch because that just sounded better. And so I started on there in about 2015, like the early 2015. And I remember Like and this was true for a long time with streaming. It's definitely not the case anymore. But the best way to start back then was literally just turn the camera on, stream yourself playing the game, and talk. Just talk about what you're doing the whole time. Doesn't matter if there was 0 viewers, 1 viewer. I would just talk. And I would talk for 6-7 hours to like one person. And this was for like 6 months. And then slowly started getting more and more viewers. And then by like the end of 2015, I had around 1,000 followers on Twitch. And back then, that was a lot.
Yeah.
Because there was not many people using Twitch like how it is now. And then there was a point where hey, nice. See, I wasn't on Justin TV. It was like I was purely on Twitch, but it was after the merger. So I was doing fairly well. But I remember I started talking with a couple different streamers at the time. One of them, who I still talk to every now and then, is a Platypus, who is an absolute legend.
Kamikaze Platypus?
No. Kamikaze Platypus was later in my career. Jonathan's later in my career, but I do have my run-in with him as well. But just a Platypus. The dude is a legend. His name's Max. He does variety streams now, but he did League of Legends stuff primarily, and he would do a lot of salty Teemo bet kind of things, where it'd just be him commentating over it. And I always loved that kind of thing. And so he would always constantly help me grow it. Like after I started getting a little bigger, he would help me grow my channel more. And then Sirkez would also help me later.
Nice,
as well.
the Nasus god.
He was one of the first big streamers that rated me. Like gave me a host for like 3,000 people, and that was back then.
That's pretty fucking cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, and so I had fun doing that, and then after a while, I kind of was starting to get bored of streaming. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I had fun playing the game, and me being me, even back then, I played the game my way, and that's why people watched me. They didn't watch me because I was good. They watched me because they wanted to see a guy go full AP Susan, run it down the jungle, see what he was gonna do, and if he was actually gonna do well. And so that's what people like to watch. But I was getting really into esports, and I had been for a long time. I've watched since season 2. Like I watched season 2 Worlds live.
What was the first competitive match that you watched? Do you remember?
First competitive. It was Gambit.
Was it
Well,
at
Moscow 5?
Yeah,
Moscow
was it at Worlds?
It was at Worlds. It was Moscow 5 versus, I think, WE.
Hey, no way. That was the same. That was also my first one.
Hey, that was a good one.
That was like the semis then.
Yeah, it was. It
had
wasn't
no
the whole. I didn't watch
fucking
every
clue.
event, like every game in that event. I went back and watched them on YouTube.
So I asked because the first series that I watched was the EU regional qualifiers between CLG and SK.
Oh man, and that CLG,
CLGU, yeah.
the gods of how to delay a game to infinity
met-
and beyond.
Yeah, there was like the first team I was a fan of.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate enough to like have met 2 of them and actually like had calls and conversations with them
Nice.
throughout my time.
Right
That's
now,
like
the
always
time-
They
Right.
stole a PC
Wrong one.
from me.
You did?
Yeah.
So I
I
will
once
say,
beat Alex Itch in a best of 5.
this is a cool fun fact of the podcast.
This is my fraudulent piece
Okay, you got it.
of lore. Is my crowning achievement as a League of Legends player is in 2021 Masters Riot Rumble. I defeated Alex Itch.
I will say, Moscow 5 was my first favorite team.
They were
Crowning achievement.
the Alex Itch like broke the game back then. Like point
Alex
like
Itch.
well, him and Diamond both did.
Diamond.
Edward too.
Edward,
But
you're literally forgetting the
they
2
were insane.
gods of breaking the game.
They were
the
insane.
Time Lord himself, Genja,
Darien.
and the Wizard Lizard Darien. I can't believe he just goes and forgets.
yeah, but like
Were
no,
Genja's builds good,
Oh,
or
no.
were they no? Or were they
Were-
different?
Were they good? No. Was he good? No.
Sometimes.
Arguable.
Sometimes his builds are good.
Sometimes his builds were good, and most of the time he wasn't good. But my God, was he fun to watch.
the AP Eve, the AP Master Yi, like Alex Itch, every game it was like 3 bans thrown at Alex Itch and he would still carry, which
Though-
back then was insane.
I will say my favorite was, when they became Gambit and it was the EU LCS. Darien started running
Warwick.
Aatrox.
Oh,
and
okay,
Warwick.
yeah,
And
the Warwick.
So both of them, the goal was to see how many games he could play of them until he drew bans. And The Aatrox, it took not too long, but the Warwick did take a little bit longer. And once it finally got banned, they had an interview with him afterwards. And I think it was Shock's actually asking him, like, so what's with the Darien tech? Why are you doing it? He's like, oh, I was just playing it until it gets banned. I'm never touching that champ again. Like, I just want to see if I could ever get someone to ban it.
The 420 weed wick.
Yep. Blaze it.
There were so many Darien weed edits. I remember.
Dude, the first one, like the one that was really iconic. I like when he walked out, like the fucking pause between his name being announced, like when he walks, it really does feel like he's just stoned.
He knew how to play into the memes.
The timing was like just perfection.
Oh, you want me to finish my story of how I became?
Yeah. How'd you get started?
Hang on, I have one thing really fast.
Oh, yeah,
just context.
Okay, I love
people,
tangents.
The people, so they know.
Oh, are they getting the audio for this?
They're not getting the audio for this. But
Oh, this is iconic.
It's so iconic.
Because
I didn't have time to say.
yeah, because like you can like see Gambit.
Darien.
Wait.
She looks that way, right?
Wait.
It's
Yeah,
like-
it takes her. It's when she looks that he finally starts coming out.
She's like, come on.
And just look at that legend. Look at his hair. Look at his strut. That guy, absolute Giga Chad right there. Miss him in League of
Motherfucker
Legends.
was blazed before coming on stage.
We need more players like that.
I watched that so many times, and I still just cackle at it today.
There's another version of that with the blunt slowly
Yep.
falling down to his hand. It's really funny.
Oh my god.
Darien. Literally, like I another tangent to go on. I'm doing the YouTube stuff.
Yeah,
And,
I was gonna plug that later.
Well, I'm just gonna put this now because one thing I want to do eventually is I want to have a whole series of forgotten League of Legends players.
Yeah.
And Darien is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
It's like I want to really show the modern League of Legends viewer who Darien is and why we're all so excited to just talk about him.
So real quick, what was your guys' first competitive games watched? Just like going down the line. I don't know if we've done this before or not, but
It definitely wasn't my first one that I ever watched, but the first one I remember going to was CLG TSM in 2013 PAX.
so summer.
Yeah.
Was that the Nian Tanso game where there was the backdoor Elise?
No, that one wasn't at PAX.
Okay,
That was at MLG.
Okay, that was MLG. Yeah, I just
I
that
remember
being a while ago.
exactly-
Was it a finals?
I think it was the semis.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's what I remember is going up afterwards, and I was really excited to meet Voyboy,
Oh,
but they just lost, and he was depressed as fuck.
yeah.
Oh, was that
Wait,
the reverse
no,
sweep?
it wasn't.
Was that the LMQ
Maybe it was a
reverse?
dig game.
No?
Was he on Dignitas at the time?
No, he
That was in
Curse.
2014.
Yeah, it was
Curse?
It was Curse.
Fuck, dude, it's been a long
The
time.
LMQ reverse sweep was 2014.
I remember in particular the.
LMQ.
I remember that's the thing I remember the most is Voyboy being depressed, and then I was having people sign a deck of cards, and Nian Hanso asked, "Hey, is it okay if I just sign any that I want?" I was like, "Yeah, that's the point." And so he takes one card, he writes Ni. He takes another card, he writes N, and then he takes a third card and writes a smiley face on it. And I was like, "This guy, this guy." That's what I remember.
Damn.
What about you, Mark?
March 22nd, 2013. TSM Complexity. Wild Turtles debut.
The fact you
That was
guys
the first game you
remember
watched,
these,
yeah.
It's like
Well, he did go back over it when he got LCS.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember rushing home to watch the first LCS game. It was a Cho'Gath lane swap from Hotshot, or Malphite lane swap from Hotshot. COG versus TSM.
now here's
Shows
something
you
I'm
won.
gonna ask all of you. Who watched NACL?
Oh, the
When it was a
original.
Coca-Cola. When it was a Coca-Cola Challenge.
My man.
Okay, so the original.
C9 Tempest.
Yep.
I did.
Okay.
I was a huge fan of Team Fusion because
Okay.
they had Neon on it, and I thought that Hui was kind of lit. And they also had Mac Noon in the top lane. He was just like running kids as Poppy. And I swear they were one Kiwi Kid combo away. The one paycheck this guy earned later on, man,
Yep.
was to keep Fusion out of LCS by hitting a fucking
Gatekeeper.
Kiwi Kids 5-man Alistar knockup.
the
Oh my
fucking
god, it was
5-man
beautiful.
pull. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
You want to know who my favorite team of was?
Big File Miracle.
Was Cognitive Gaming.
Oh god, I remember that logo.
You know why?
No.
Because Zamfira, their mid laner, was a Lulu mid aficionado.
Oh, is that when Lulu Mid became a thing?
It was,
Also,
it was because LeBlanc became a thing.
no, it's because you could glitter lance
And-
twice when you had
Well,
picks up.
you could do that, but it was also at the time when the polymorph actually outranged the distortion.
Jesus Christ! Oh
So
my
you guys
God.
are all
So it was a pure counter to LeBlanc.
That
LeBlanc
champion
could
was-
never jump forward.
The
you guys
only-
are all Lulu mid sickos then.
I abused that. I'm an abuser.
Lulu
I
mid?
find something that is off meta that is good. I will make sure that I make everyone's life a living hell in solo queue, and I will make sure I get as many wins.
I was the first time I hit diamond. I did it two tricking Lulu and Ziggs.
When you could glitter lance twice off picks, that was so OP. I still remember the first person that busted it out was Alex Hitch, and it was his counter in the Kale. And it like
good one,
solo
too.
killed
Outranged.
Kale twice.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, holy shit, this is OP.
Remember old
Instantly, everyone started playing it, because I think it was back then it was a Lichbane rush too.
it was.
And then they
You would literally
changed
just
it.
glitter lance auto dead.
They changed it, and then I actually... People think that mid Lulu was toxic for the game. I fucking loved it. And the only reason I loved it is watching Faker and Bang play that
No, you know
in
what
T1.
was toxic?
It was so... No, they were so good at this... Like, it was actually ridiculous how good they were at this combo.
No. But what was actually toxic was old Karma, because you could nuke the wave using the minions, because you could shield the minions, and her old.
Oh,
Eve
that's right.
would
You could shield the minions.
You would also act as a damaging thing when you'd upgrade it with mantra. So you would nuke the wave, and so if anybody even went to try to get any minions from your enemy, you would just shield the minion with the mantra. So you'd shield all the minions, as well as do an insane amount of damage that would nearly one-shot people.
Man, did you see your
It was
first
the
game?
worst particle
I did
effects
not.
ever.
It was.
So I have a fun
so
story
bad.
with
So
But I
ugly.
abused the crap out of it.
I have two first games. The first game was the one that Alex had mentioned, which was the I believe World Elite Moscow 5
Yes.
from Season 2 Worlds.
Yes.
But my friend just showed that to me in the computer lab in middle school, and I had no idea what was going on. It was like before I played League. Then in like the summer of 2013, I picked it up and started playing. Then like towards the winter, I started playing like more and more and more. And then in 2014 spring was when I really started seriously watching LCS. And my first serious LCS game was the Cloud9. It was Cloud9 versus Team Coast. And the first video that my friend Johnny, who introduced me to League of Legends, the first
Shout
video
outs
he
to
showed
Johnny.
me was that even his teacher calls him Zion's partner.
Yeah.
So I liked Coast, and then I also liked Cloud9 because I started watching in summer 2013. I mean, how could you not?
Yeah, they were good as fuck.
The most fun team, and they were just running over everybody, basically. And
Meteos was like actually
That's when it was in his
the most
God form.
dominant player I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
Meteos was god tier.
Legitimately a world class player.
And then basically, I had a decision to make in that game where I said, I'm either basically Cloud9 and Coast are playing. These are my two favorite teams. I need to decide which team I'm going to root for. I will root for the team that wins this game. And it looked like Coast was going to win the game, and then Meteos did that like Nocturne backdoor. We just went and did it. And I'm forever grateful to Meteos for doing this, because if he had not backdoored that game, I would have been a Coast fan, and that would have been worse than
Short
death.
lived.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
We should start the podcast
Yeah,
now.
I mean, no, honestly, this is part of it. I will say the announcement is up, but let's let MadMagical finish how he got started, because he is still.
So yeah, I kind of like this, how it's going so far, because I feel like this will be one of those stories that can just drag out the whole time, where we get snippets of exactly how, you're learning a little bit about me at a time, and then we have the B plot that comes up every time, like in the episodes. It's just like the A plot is Magical's journey to becoming a caster, but the B plot is all these little things happening.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
Magical. How'd you end up casting?
Okay, so I was getting bored of streaming, and I told you I watched the Platypus, and he did a lot of like not really casting. It was just talking over like Salty Timo games, and he would kind of do casting every once in a while. And so I'd been watching LCS. I had been watching all these things. I was becoming a fan of the LPL at the time as well. That shout out to Snake, the original Snake Esports, best team ever with Crystal on the team as
Crystal.
well. Andre, yep. SOFM, great, love them all. Anyways, looking at how I got into casting was I was starting to get bored, and I was getting bigger as a streamer. I was getting usually like anywhere from 25 to 50 viewers at a time, like every stream. Sometimes I get up to 100. And so I didn't want to really play anymore. And so, but I wanted to be involved with the community. So I would do custom games where I would just let them play and I would just talk over it. And so it kind of started as just me talking over it to me casting it like a commentator. And people would be like, man, you have such great energy. You should look into shoutcasting. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. We'll see. And someone linked me this thing for this place called Compete League, saying they're looking for shoutcasters. And so I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll apply. I'll see what they say. And at first they wanted me to be an observer. And so we were talking. I'm like, yeah, I could do observer work, but I was kind of thinking I wanted to be a caster. And they're like, oh yeah, what's your Twitch? I'm like, oh, this is my Twitch. If you want to see some of my VODs. Well, I had about 4 times the amount of followers they did on my Twitch, and so they're like, you're gonna be a shoutcaster. So they immediately made me do that. I worked with someone. I forget who it was my first time, but the second ever cast I did was with Ender. If you all know who Ender is.
Yeah.
So that was my second ever person I casted with. Was it with Ender, and he and I just clicked, and he and I have been good friends ever since then. Like. And he's doing great stuff, like with not only the LEC but also with Valorant, and that's something that he's been really into.
I used to play in Compete League.
Nice.
You did?
Yeah, the last season that was around.
Well, then I
bust. It was after your time.
Yeah, it was after my time.
Hey, Manny.
Yeah.
Could
Is
you?
it time for the announcement?
No, it's not. We're gonna let Alex keep going, but I just tweeted something.
Okay.
Okay. There's some secret thing going on here. The B plot's getting really
No,
interesting.
we're just
but
gonna.
nobody knows what's happening yet.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
I don't
visit
really
this
know.
stuff.
I mean, I think I know what Matt's talking
Can you?
about. But
One
I'm
of
just
the last
saying
3
there are
videos.
people here because of the dogs.
Yeah, one of the last 3 videos that
The
I
dogs.
downloaded, Manny,
Slush puppies.
has a
Take
point
off
of
the
view.
socks.
No.
Yeah.
Can you attach that and just tag Spirax and like say like
It's an
like-
actual puppy. See,
Yeah.
look, it's a dog on my sock.
Are you
We don't
telling
have
me to
many people
tweet
on the
from your
team today.
account?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this B plot is really getting interesting.
What is happening?
I don't know. It's one of those mystery B plots where it's kind of getting alluded to in the
I'm
B plot.
very confused about this.
Just tag Spirax.
Spirax 141, right?
Just say like
Are we gonna say it now since you already said?
yeah. Spirax is starting for FlyQuest for the NRG game.
Woo! Let's go, Spirax.
There it is.
Oh, we're gonna get a live update as you tweet. Oh, okay, there it is.
We have this. It's been a long grind for Spirax, but I'm excited for him to get his chance to show off his phenomenal form for FlyQuest Challengers in the LCS for the first time.
His form has been good.
He's been looking really good the
Yeah,
last 2 weeks.
the last 2 weeks is
So what do you want me to tweet?
check. Say this is one of lead with check. No.
Coward.
You Pringus. No. Put the check before the tag.
Check you Pringus. Yeah.
POV. And then capitalize the C.
That is still.
Pringus.
Don't do it. Don't
Oh,
capitalize the C.
All right.
And make sure to @Hawk at the end of that too.
Oh yeah.
Not the knees.
You didn't capitalize the C. You know,
Good,
I'll
good
edit
job.
it from my. Oh, I can't edit something in a thread. Whatever.
Dude,
Yeah.
that is still. Can we show that
the
clip?
plot.
We need to show the clip
Yeah, we will later.
Which one?
later.
No. We have that clip. It's pretty nasty.
Oh, the Spirax Yasuo one. Yeah, we have it.
God,
Yeah.
that one's so filthy.
It is pretty nasty.
We
I mean,
we have to
should
show
do
that
it
on
now,
the
right?
podcast.
We should hit on this. Welcome,
Yeah.
Spirax.
Oh no, we're gonna let Alex finish.
Oh,
the story
right.
and then
Yeah.
we'll do that because you have a really unique start to your casting career. I think it's really cool. I don't know if you've talked about this a lot before.
So we kind of got into like that's like how I kind of started was through Compete League and streaming and stuff, and all the while I was still working full time at the sushi bar. So it's like I did that, and I also for a bit was working part time in a paint store to kind of get through a lot of that as well. Where a lot of during this time of Compete League, I would work during the day, so I'd work usually about 11 o'clock till about 7 or 8 o'clock. Then I'd rush home. I would turn on the stream. I would start shoutcasting from about 8, 9 o'clock until about about 11 or 12 o'clock. And then I would go back and like afterwards, I would take some notes, maybe stream afterwards because I was still trying to stream at the same time. Rinse and repeat that for every single day for a while. And, you know, it led me places. I started getting picked up by a couple other things. Super League was one of them, where I actually played in the first ever season of it.
Woo! You played?
Yeah, I played.
Oh my God.
I played it, and I was the support player, and I
Did
played.
you guys win in the games?
Yeah, actually, our team was the best one out of LA.
Oh
we only
my
lost. We only
God.
my team only lost once, but there's like several teams at that time for each city, and so my team only lost once, but our city got last place, and so it didn't really help out much. But yeah, I played, and that's actually how I met Deef Erickson, and then I started
He's in
talking.
chat right now.
Yeah. Oh, is he?
Yeah.
What up, Deef?
He says he was a good not support. Can vouch.
Yeah, I played brand support.
Nice.
Yeah, I was a brand support abuser at the time, so, and I did Nautilus too. But the Nautilus was the games we kept winning. The one game we lost was when the Nautilus got banned, and so yeah, I met Deef and then started working more with Super League, and then at the time it was just kind of starting off just me casting whatever. I remember the first paid event I ever had was for some random league in Malta. Me and Ender did it together. And it was the first thing we ever got paid to do for casting. And we got paid a whole $50 for 12 hours of work for 2 days. That was 12 hours each day.
Nice.
We got a whole $50 for the whole thing.
Wait, was this some random guy on Reddit
No.
that was like reaching out? I was like, hey, I need casters because I remember talking to someone. Oh no, the guy I was
No,
talking
that's
to.
not-
What are the first event I ever
Twitter,
did that was
random guy on
paid
Twitter.
was in Gibraltar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
48 cents an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were stoked. Oh my God. Me and Ender were so happy. We're like, we got paid to cast. Oh my God.
Let's
We've
go.
done it. Let's go. We're hitting it.
I remember during COVID, I got $30 a game or a day, and I was like, "Whoa,
Ooh, money.
We had to argue for our cup rate, which that was probably about 50 cents an hour too.
Cup was the first thing I ever got paid for
But
in the scene.
what did we negotiate down from? Like
Well,
we
so
started at 700, like got 600 or something like that.
I remember
the whole show.
I remember opening
entire thing.
Yeah, well, I remember opening with 750 for the entire show.
Yeah.
and then and that was going to be for each of us between you, me, and Summer. So, and then they negotiated it down.
Can you run me?
And originally they wanted to do 300. We were like,
grabbing my drink over there.
we're going to be doing so much work for
love
this
you.
show. Like we're adding a lot of creative content to it, and we want to help push it in the right direction. And so we feel like fairly it would be 500. So, and then
That was like the first time I ever negotiated.
yeah.
And we got a lot of help from TJ and Iberia for that. which they were really cool.
The nice thing that
but-
TJ and Iberia did was they gave us confidence that we could actually push for something to be creative on the show and that it could be embraced. And that's always the thing that I feel a little sad about, because TJ and Iberia were never really appreciated by the hardcore fan base in League. Just because everyone was vocal about, well, these guys don't play the game. They have no idea what they're talking about, and they're trying. And it's because they were ahead of their time, in my opinion.
Well, chat was also right. They really didn't know the game.
I mean,
Yeah.
sure, but like,
They did something unusual with it though. And the thing I think that made TJ and Iberia a good fun, like as a caster, I enjoyed listening to them, and I think it's because they didn't know the game. I'll be honest, they didn't know the game, but they were funny and they were entertaining, and
Yeah,
that's
I
something
agree.
a lot of other casters still struggle with. That is something I've noticed.
Some
that
I still struggle with, you know.
it's not an easy thing. It doesn't come naturally to a lot of people. Like,
Cubby's not entertaining.
yeah, Cubby's probably the most boring caster there is. Let's be real.
holy shit! Wow.
I'm sitting here like that. Like one caster who tweeted like casters are worthless on the broadcast. That's me sitting here right now.
Can we pull that up?
Oh god.
Yeah, sure, fuck it.
Jeez.
We ball.
I think Azale had a
I
good
will say-
response to that tweet, actually.
I will say for TJ and Iberia, by the way, right now, I still keep in touch pretty well with TJ. Sometimes we do a podcast that we publish about the space on Sick Esports.
Nice.
They
Sick.
recently did an event for Omega Strikers, and I've been kind of freaking killing it. running low budget broadcasts for that game dev and doing really well. So they continue to show that like they can help grow esports they're a part of. No, you got to click on the one where they're.
No, I'm just saying I like Azael's response to it. I think
I mean it's reasonable as usual. Azael's very rational.
Mm-hmm.
This was esports hot take.
This guy, by the way, is a caster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean at least he leads with hot
Wait,
take.
this was today?
This was
Yeah, it's supposed
today.
to be
Yeah.
today.
Holy shit.
Oh,
Well,
shit.
technically.
Time to fucking stir the pot.
See, I don't like to interact with tweets like that because I always feel like people like that are just impression farming.
I didn't.
They're
I
just
mean,
trying
I
to get
didn't-
people over onto their shit so they can be like, yeah, give me free follows.
Hey.
Maybe that's just me as someone who's cynical, who doesn't give a damn about social media as a content creator. Technically, I should, but I
Hey,
just don't.
You know what, MadMagical? I didn't dogpile on there for the free karma, so this is my version of doing that.
Come take
now.
a look at how worthless I am on a broadcast. That's his karma farming.
Yeah.
I mean the pin
people,
tweet.
Some people.
Pin tweet's looking for casters or looking for casting. So
Damn. That's
well,
tough.
Maybe he'll
Be-
get paid what he thinks. he deserves.
beats in chat. I need to start karma farming on Twitter. Dude, just call Mid-Jungle Duo from NA top 5 in the world. You'll be fine. Anyway,
Where do our Mayo and JoJo rank? You gotta tell us.
dude, the fact that Dom rehashed that this week
It was so funny.
A, pretty funny. B, I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm not done with this yet.
You'll never be done.
I will never be done.
It's never going away.
Hey, Alex, one last thing. How'd you get started with C9? I know. I'm just trying to not let this guy eat. Actually,
Pretty much, I'm like,
strategy.
this is a moment where the A plot has like a time to rest for a bit, and the B plot.
Beat goes.
Thinking.
Time to post that on Threads.
All right, so, like I said, I was doing various different casting things. I was doing a bunch of different things for all sorts of things. Super League. I was doing stuff for Compete League. I actually did the first ever Tyler One Invitational thing when Tyler One first didn't do it himself, but had someone else did it. And that was a very scuffed version that Compete League did, where unfortunately Kangas and it was Opal, and I forget who else was the caster.
Was this hair era Kangas?
Yeah.
Oh, Opal.
And they got absolutely rolled by Twitch chat because nobody liked them for some reason. And me and Coco came out there, and I'm like, Coco, we're just literally going to go out in there, and we're going to treat this as though we're Tyler One. We're just going to be loud for no reason other than to be loud. And of course, that's what the crowd wanted. That's all they wanted. That's like, I'm like, dude, that's what they want. They're like Opal, Kangas, and I forget who else was. We're trying to take it too seriously. And the crowd didn't want that. Like, you just got to give them what they want. No, that's what they wanted. Anyways, doing various things. I was in DreamHack Austin doing, what was it? AVGL. It was like a collegiate program. So I was there back in like 2017. And as I got off the plane from Austin back home, I have a bunch of missed calls and I have a bunch of emails. And like from numbers I don't know, and from emails that are from both Team Liquid and Cloud9, and both of them are like, are you available to cast?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Huh? It's like from Cloud9 official and from Team Liquid official, asking me if I can cast, and I'm like, yeah. What's this for? Like I didn't even know what it was for. And I'm talking with both of them at the same time a little bit. And they're like, yeah, Riot is going to have the Academy broadcast done by the teams. And we're interested in having you involved. Would you like to come for a meeting? So I did a phone meeting with Team Liquid that didn't really lead anywhere. Like I talked to them once, but really quickly after I had an in-person meeting with Jack. At Cloud9's team house. Like he wanted me to go there and actually meet with him, and I actually got to meet with him, and that was a pretty tense interview because you know I've been watching at that point since 2012, and I'd started loving Cloud9 since 2013. So here I am in front of the guy who owns the team, and he just asked me these questions about how I got into casting, and I'm pretty much just rehashing the story I'm telling you guys now. And he's like, "We love your energy. We'll hire you right now." Like at that meeting, he's just like, "Well, how are you right now?" Which was even better that like the Team Liquid phone interview I'd done the day before, and so it was not like there's much room between it. And I'm like, sure, I was talking with Team Liquid, but if they call, I won't follow up, and they never called, so it didn't matter. So I ended up just working for Cloud9, and that's really what was like my big moment.
How did Sam get involved?
Sam got hired too.
Yeah, but how did he get headhunted, or did you bring him on?
He got so Sam wasn't the first choice, if I recall, but he was one of the few who was in LA, and Cloud9 did not want to do a remote broadcast. They wanted everyone in person, and so that's what really rose him up in that, because they did ask me of casters in LA, and I did mention Sam, but they're like, oh, he's already on our radar. So it wasn't like I gave him the name that's why they hired. They're like, oh, we've already reached out to him, kind of thing. We know he's in LA, and so Sam got brought on, and it was funny because Sam Cajun Rage was a play-by-play.
Yeah.
And we both knew this, and he was the one who even said, he's like, Magical, you're probably the stronger play-by-play between the two of us, so you should do the play-by-play because it would make more sense, and I'll do the color casting because I can do color casting, and but he's like, but it's not going to be as good. So I'm like, if we're on Cloud9, we should just have fun with it. Like, instead of having a typical, and this is why Sam was so good, because instead of having a typical color caster, it was the funny man and the straight man. I was the straight man, he was the funny man.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So it was opposite of what you'd think.
What?
Yeah, he was the funny man. Sam was a riot. Sam is so funny. And so and that's how we kind of would make it work. I would say things more with a straight face while he was trying to make more of the jokes throughout a lot of it. And that's, I think, what lent into a lot of things. There were moments where I'd have, like, with Paul the Cloud, which on day one, we had to fill for almost an hour because we had to do this stupid sponsor obligation for this random trivia app. And we had to wait for the players to get there. Because we're at one of they had a couple team houses. So we're at one of the team houses. We had to wait for the players to get from one house to the other. And while we were waiting there, which I don't know what took them an hour to get there, by the way. Literally, the houses were next to each other. There's no reason it should have taken them an hour.
They hadn't woken up yet.
Well, they had just played a game of League of Legends.
Nah.
And so they're next door, and I find out they went to Chipotle first and then came. And so that's why we had to fill for an hour.
Oh my God.
Me and Sam ran out of things to talk about fairly quickly.
That's so funny.
And so we had these clouds hanging behind us, right? They're like all over the place. And somehow we get on to naming the clouds. And he's like, all right, Magical, what's the name of the cloud right behind you? I'm like, this cloud? This guy's Paul. Yeah, he's not always in the best mood. And they're smiling clouds, by the way. The tape happened at that moment to fall just slightly, so now he's smirking. Right at that moment, I'm pointing to him, calling him Paul the Cloud, and saying that. It looked like it was staged. It looked like we had planned that, but it was just tape onto cotton balls that just happened to come loose at that moment.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how I got started with Cloud9, and that was kind of my big break. That's how people started recognizing me afterwards, and kind of led to a lot of other things that I think is why I'm still in the space to begin with. I think without that, like, I forget who said this. So I think it was Elfish Guy who I'd worked with when I went over to Macau. He had a good tweet where he's like, it's so different to be a caster now compared to even when I started. Because when I started, it was purely on how good are you at talking about the game and how interesting are you as a person on the broadcast. And that is it. Now you have to have a brand attached to you. You cannot just be someone who knows the game well enough. You have to have a brand that you can build around yourself in order to get anywhere. And I think that's something that I still struggle with because I'm not good with like people giving me this recognition. There's imposter syndrome, stuff like that. I just do what I love to do. It's not even imposter syndrome. I just want to do this because I love to do this. So it's like, I don't, like, so people are like, oh, I love you, you're great. I'm like, I'm just doing what I love. I don't, like, thank you, I appreciate the sentiment, but I feel awkward because I'm like, am I really that good? I'm just here doing something that I find entertaining.
The whole landscape is definitely completely different than when we all first started casting. I mean, even for someone like Matt, who started in 2020, only 3 years ago, it still feels vastly different than what it looks like now. I mean, like, in the same way that when we look back at League of Legends and what kind of players, what the mechanical floor, skill floor was to, like, be a quote-unquote silver or gold player, back then, you know, was, like, piss all. And now, like, mechanical skill floor for a silver gold player is what the equivalent of what, like, diamond was back then. Like, there's just... And I think that in some ways, it's also the expectations for the caster. Not necessarily in skill, but just, like, what people consider the bare minimum and, like, what is required of you versus what makes you stand out. And so back then, if you did all the prep and you were skilled in being able to have good broadcast fundamentals, you were considered, like, S tier.
And you knew all the ability names.
Yeah, and if you knew all the ability names. Now if you do that, that is like, okay, yeah, but what else? That is no longer, like, a, like, desirable quality. That is an essential.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I mean, I think that for me, what helped the most in, like, jumping early was that COVID hit, so it was a spike in play and a spike in people not knowing what to do. And I was one of the few cover casters that could say, hey, I hit this rank and actually coached a team. And not that I ever had success as a coach, but I took a team of Diamond 4 players and we ended up taking a game off Maryville by the end of the split twice.
Which is not bad.
Which, I mean, I'm very proud of that. Like, I help players get from Plat 2, Diamond 4 to Master Tier, and then got them playing well enough as a team to actually, like, challenge a scholarship team that is in our league now, right?
Well, and I kind of want to just piggyback off your point, Mark. Like, I think that's why people, especially, like, when people look at me back then, thought I was so good compared to everyone else, was because I knew the ability names, I was entertaining to listen to, and that I hit a mark that most people just weren't going for at that time. And so it kind of separated me a lot from it. And then when everyone started catching up and actually started doing that more, that's when I started falling off a little bit. And it's like, and so that's why it's something I think I've still been trying to reel back from, is figuring out what is my brand, who am I as a caster, because a lot of things people have. I always say this too. You don't have to have everything unique to you, but it does hurt when people, like, not only just take some things from you, but a lot of people take the little things from you each individually that made you unique that no longer make you unique, because there's so many other casters that also now do that.
I mean, like, I started late, and I followed the game since, like I said, season 2. So, like, took a lot of inspiration from people like Papa Smithy, Raz. I think Raz is really good at things that I'm not naturally good at. Monty and Doa. So yeah, like, I mean,
Like
if
twerking.
you're gonna,
Hold on. This is Matt's chance to prove him wrong.
but like,
He twerk as good as Raz.
Yeah,
Go.
Go on, Matt.
if you're gonna like do a job or like a craft, then yeah, you have to learn from other people that have been successful in the craft, or else what are you doing?
Yeah, and that's why.
yeah.
And I'm not saying this as like I'm bitter, like I don't have that uniqueness anymore. I'd much rather people do that, because I want to see the scene grow. I have always been big about, I'm not a complacent person. I want to be pushed. In fact, something I always griped about, especially from 2017 to about the pandemic, was I felt like there wasn't anyone who was competing with me. And I felt like it made me complacent, because I didn't feel that there were people challenging me until people like Marc started coming in, until people like Lennon started coming in, who started not only just being good casters, but bringing a personality in. That's something Kangas also started adapting to, where he really started leaning in more into his brand, who he is. And I think that's something, and that's pushed me in many great ways to better myself as a caster. And that's always what I want to see. I want more people like that. I want to see. I don't want to be looked at as that guy who's just like, oh, he's good, but how can I get better? I never want to, even if I become what people one day consider the best in casting, I still want people to go, he's good, but he could do more. He could get better. He could say this more, or maybe he could slow down his cadence. He can be more exciting here. He can bring more tension there, so that it can always, every single time, make the broadcast better. Because if it ever gets to that point where people are like, oh, it can't get better, then that means there's just nothing left, and I don't want that. It's chasing a dream after all. You're chasing something.
That's interesting.
The eternal grind.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like how tied to brand it is.
It is very tied to brand, especially now, but I think it's the pushback from what it was before.
Yeah.
Brand wasn't associated at all, and it's a pendulum.
Yeah.
Right over here where brand was nothing, and it was all about just, do you know the game? Are you slightly entertaining?
I don't think it's a pendulum. The reason that there's like a back and forth on brand, right? Because for one, it's court of public opinion, right? Mm-hmm. Like I think that's the theory behind it. Mm-hmm. But I think also like for a show, it almost encourages safer risks.
Well, and I think that's something that is true.
And
but
it's hard to build brand in this space if you aren't given opportunities above. And so I think that it kind of leads to, it's tricky.
You guys remember that guy that used to do like the LCS after show that would do like weird green screen things?
Sushi Dragon?
Yeah, that guy.
Yes.
I thought that show was terrible, but
A lot of people thought that show was
I am convinced that if they had tried like that kind of thing with a different person every week, it would have been really good, right? Because for some people, that shit hits, right?
Well,
and it was a risk, like, but the thing was, they just took such a long gamble on it.
Well, I think it's why, like what Cubby was saying, it's a safe risk with certain brands, right? Now, it makes you feel safe because there are going to be some brands that are a lot easier and more palatable for all people.
It's not even that. It's just like you can get someone on the show that has 50,000 to 100,000 followers, or you can get someone that has 5,000. And what's going to draw more?
True.
I mean, I don't know. When we talk about that, like during COVID, I ran the caster gamut as well myself, more for fun than anything else.
You did casting?
I did.
You have a reel?
Yeah.
You gonna play it for us or what?
Manny was actually decent.
I was on Cup. I was on
Manny was
Risen.
Hey, look, I'll tell you right now.
Back in the day.
Barely remember those.
That was a long time ago. But what I was gonna point out is
Guy just fucking ran-checked Manny.
I guess the thing I was trying to say was at the time there were people that were being hired and not hired, and that was decided by follower counts on Twitter. And I think that's wrong. Like personally, you can be a personality, like that is like definitely true, and have a brand, quote unquote, but like there's only so much you can generate on your own without being able to have the gigs. And like
True.
I was able to get added to those even though I didn't have the largest Twitter following because
you were a YouTube personality, right?
Bring other stuff.
Hey, I was a Twitch personality. That's how I got mine.
But not everyone had that opportunity, and I always kind of felt a little bad because it's like, well, if you don't have something, and you could be a great commentator, you could be great on broadcast, you could bring something unique on the broadcast, but like someone could get the job compared to you because they had more Twitter followers, and that always kind of made me feel
I'll tell you right now,
bad.
just because you're unique does not make you good. My cast should be a good example of that.
I'm not talking about my cast. I got on. I'm talking about people who didn't. That's what I was saying.
Well, for those out there who think that, just because you're unique doesn't mean that you're going to be good, because look at me. I'm just saying.
I
didn't
will
lose
say
any
there
jobs,
was
but I know people did.
There's a direct quote about who was hired to Academy in 2022 based on who had a reel.
I didn't have a reel.
You must have had something
I
because
didn't.
they did not consider people who didn't.
I'll tell you right now.
That is true.
I did not have a reel. I did not have a highlight package. I did not have a CV. I'll be frank with you right now. I had none of that.
That is why Eric was not brought on, is because he didn't have a reel. That's a direct quote.
How much do the reels count if
Okay.
I did half of them.
But they also didn't, for some reason, they didn't know who Eric was.
That could be it. I also did work for them on the Academy Rush and for.
Did Eric not do Rush?
No, he did not.
Oh, what the fuck, Eric? What the fuck were you doing?
Yeah, I don't think Eric did Academy Rush because I was on Academy Rush.
Yeah,
So I think that's how they had reels of me, is they had internal footage of me.
Yeah, I mean, you worked with them before.
Right.
I don't want to get like too into the nitty gritty here of like
Also
caster
with
shit.
Cloud9 too.
We're an hour in, so
Is it time to actually talk about League of Legends?
I think it might be. I mean, it's
Wait,
been
are we going
been a
back
fun,
to the A plot of my story of how I became a caster?
do we finish it?
No, we got to the Cloud9 arc. We didn't
Yeah,
get to. I was just alluding to the Academy Rush stuff.
You're already a caster by then.
Yeah, but I guess.
You want to talk more about Academy Rush?
Yeah, actually, I kind of do. 'Cause, I have a fun story about Academy Rush. I have a fun story about Academy Rush.
All right, well, you know what? MadMagical, you got me convinced.
Okay, so Academy
what do you
Rush
got here?
was an idea, that's for sure, where all the games would go on at once.
It was
and-
Red Zone.
It was,
Yeah.
but you'd only have one caster, not caster.
Yeah, solo
per
cast,
game.
always.
So you're
Yeah.
solo casting each of the games.
It was
You know who got fucking destroyed by that?
That was you.
All the fucking color
That was
casters.
you. I remember because you were there.
that was me.
Coco actually did a nice job.
Coco was not bad.
did a solid.
did a nice
Yeah,
job.
but it's just for color casters that wasn't going to show their strength.
It was not. It was not the
It's,
thing that
it's
we were
like,
good
like
at.
the whole idea was like it was purely a play-by-play's wet dream.
Yeah.
But
the flip side of that was that there was a lot of people on that show that I was like, what? Where's my Eric? Where's my Marc?
yeah, it's like it was well, and it's I don't know why Eric wasn't on it because he was in LA. He should have been on.
He also he had the same pathway because after we did Team Liquid, we both did Twitch Rivals together, and I thought for sure he did Academy Rush.
Academy Rush, crazy original idea. No one's ever thought of it before.
never.
Nope.
Yeah, 'cause
Can't
I'm-
think of a single.
Bro.
I can't remember Eric.
Hey.
He might be able to correct.
Hey,
me.
Manny. 61 days till the first NFL Sunday.
It's true.
Okay.
It's coming.
Well,
Anyway.
that means nothing to me. Anyways, you want to hear my fun story or not, Matt, about
Wednesday
the Academy
before.
Rush?
Yeah. What's up?
So, you know when Academy Rush was? What year?
2019.
I don't
2020.
know.
Oh, 2020.
2020.
Sorry. Oh,
What?
right.
What happened in
COVID,
2020?
COVID.
COVID. Guess who was at Riot when they got shut down?
You were?
I was at Riot getting the setup already. They were getting me all tied up with everything. And then I think it was, I can't remember if I think it was Graham who came in. He's like, hey, Magical. Like, hey, what's up? It's like, so we're not having any games today. Like,
Oh.
why? Like, because everyone's now evacuating the building. Riot has shut down everything. So everyone's going home.
It's a serious big G moment. I've never seen a larger G in all my life.
I was just like, well, alrighty, cool. I drove 2 hours in traffic to get there because I was living even further away than I am currently from here.
Now, Alex, how much money do you think I made off of Academy Rush?
About as much as I did.
Really? How much did you make?
I mean, are we counting how much I had to pay for gas both ways?
Yeah. Well, we're talking transportation. We're talking transportation.
Huh?
We're talking full transportation.
Okay, so if I was counting full transportation, I probably made like $20 from a day.
Negative
I
money
made
for Joe.
negative 50 because I had to fly every time.
Yep.
You had to fly every day?
I was in Seattle.
Oh, that's right. You had moved back.
Commitment to the game.
Right, I forgot about that.
Commitment.
Because I made about 20 because gas would.
I flew every time.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Because I mean, we also got paid pretty.
It was like 200.
It was
something like that.
$200. I mean, granted, it was 200.
200 was your day rate?
That's
Yeah.
the day rate.
And
To be fair,
granted,
we only
it was
did
an
like
hour.
a game.
It was an hour
Oh, it's
of
just
work.
one game.
Yeah.
The problem was for people like me and Josh who had travel.
I thought you guys did more.
I would have to travel 2 hours through traffic to get up there, and then by the time we would finish was peak rush hour going back home, which would take me about 4 hours to get home.
Little
So-
did they know that's what the rush really meant. Academy Rush
That was
Hour.
a good one, Manny. So I didn't know you had to fly. 'Cause
Yeah.
Between the gas and all that stuff, I was probably not making very much from it.
Yeah, no, I knew at the time when I was talking to Edmund, it's like, I remember thinking, I'm gonna make no money off of this, but I think if I don't do it, I will never have a future in this game. Like, I think I have to do it, and so I chose to.
I have talked to other casters in the past, and it's their stories, so I won't share. But I know of other casters who have flown in every single time to cover
Yep.
Not here.
I'll be honest.
But-
Well,
If I had to, I would.
Yeah.
It's like, especially like when I was first starting, like if I had to fly somewhere, I would have easily done that. We're just making Manny do all.
I
that.
cannot.
I'm not a waiter. I'm a producer.
what's the
You know,
difference?
son, I need some crackers with my.
Oh my
curry.
god. I love my job. I cannot say that I'd fly in every time to do my job. That's a different level of commitment. Now I do kind of.
Depends on how
I don't hate flying, but I would hate flying if I flew every week.
Yeah.
Oh, let's be straight. Like
Travels.
all of us had like somewhere between 3 and 5 Academy Rush days.
Yeah.
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 I remember that. I mean, it was a big pool of people.
Also, can I say traveling sucks in airplanes? Absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
Especially when I had to fly back from Macau and they made me miss my connecting flight because they forgot to fuel the plane in Macau.
Oh.
And then I had to wait 10 hours.
Oh.
And the Taiwan, well, the Taipei airport in Taiwan. And I then had to fly back on a 12-hour flight that was not in the luxury flight that I was supposed to have back home. Instead of I was in a very low economy flight that was very uncomfortable. To then get home at 7 o'clock in the morning and then have to work all day on LCS Challengers.
Yeah.
How do you forget to refuel a plane?
That was my thought too.
That sounds like a major oversight, guys.
I was livid when I learned that. I was just like, how do you forget? We were
Manny.
on the runway.
Yes.
How do you forget that?
Deef Erickson asks, could you define what a producer is, and could you definitively say that being a waiter is not part of your job responsibility?
No, I can't definitively say that, to be honest.
All right, guys.
So that's what we have PAs for. Is it time to talk about League of Legends?
I think it's time to talk about League of Legends.
We've been talking about League of Legends this whole time.
We have.
Spirax in.
yeah.
Hey, thanks for sharing first off, Alex. I know you got a fun story.
All right, now I can eat.
Now you can eat. Now it's League of Legends time. Spirax is in. Manny, we got a few clips to fly of Spirax from his play and
do.
challenges this split.
Haha, fly Spirax.
Joshi,
That's me.
Josh, champion of Warhammer
Yeah.
and boss of League of Legends takes,
Yeah.
and most recent LCS covercaster on this couch.
True.
When do you
What are
want
your
to-
thoughts on Spirax?
Spirax is pretty good, and he's had a
Everyone
really good recently.
Diamond and Tomo.
We're in, by the way, go back. Holy fuck, Jalal.
Spirax is a player that my biggest criticism of him for a long time was as somebody that we knew was going to be pretty good. He had a lot of games where he was invisible, and I don't feel as though he has a single game this year, or at least this split, where he's been invisible. It always feels as though he is making an impact, which is a huge thing that not even all of our
Misses
best players
Masu and everyone are trying to cut back right now. Spirax goes deep in and actually gets a double kill. He survives through all. Concept will claim his
The
prize.
problem is they're not always on the same page.
I think TLC is the best team.
I'm saying when they're all on the same page. Like you see,
I
some,
think
of the, you see some of the
TLC's
plays that 5C make when they're on the
They
same
make some
play.
really good plays.
But the problem is they don't have the consistency I think TLC has.
Fuck, I might go over to Manny's PC to pull up a play from FlyQuest, actually. They had some good games this week, even if they got
He
OT'd by
misses.
PG.
Masu
This
and
team fight is
everyone are
insane.
trying to cut
Spirax,
back right
look
now.
at this. And also
Spirax
Faisal.
goes
Faisal
deep
gets the
in
double
and
kill.
actually gets a
Faisal.
double kill. He survives through it
this is a
all.
crazy fight
Concept
from
will
Faisal.
claim
And
his
honestly, everyone
prize.
on FlyQuest.
Trying to get onto Masu now.
Faisal
All out was
making
saved by
this
Faisal.
fun.
He's had the whole
Faisal
time.
plays
That's
so
an
good in this
ace.
fight.
Can you play that again? I was looking at the top right and not what Spirax was.
He was actually
He
watching.
misses.
Well,
Masu
The fans are
and
complaining
everyone are
about
trying to
the
cut
lag
back
factor
right
out
now.
So there's
Spirax
tap
goes
audio.
deep in and actually gets a double kill.
There we go. It should be gone.
I love that Masu flashed over the wall too.
Sorry, fans. I was sent these clips after the podcast started, so I have a cop out.
True. Yeah,
I was also some of this food after the podcast
that
started.
that clip from Faisal was pretty insane. And also Spirax ended up picking that up. But
How does this affect LeBron's legacy?
we're not talking about LeBron if we're going to talk about greats. We're talking about Joey fucking Chestnut. But we'll move forward with this.
Wait, who is that? The hot dog
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's my fucking goat.
Guys, we must be on the team. Let's keep going.
Yeah. I think that for me, Josh, something I've noticed with Spirax is that I feel like he scales into splits a little bit.
Yeah, he does. He definitely plays better later on. I feel like it takes some time to just kind of ramp up like his mind for the game. I definitely feel as though off seasons tend to affect him more than other players.
I know that like he goes to MU though to grind, and I know that the Maryville guys speak really highly of him when he does. So I don't. Maybe it's just he just gets more on scrims. Like who knows? Because it's not like he's not playing, and he is working with competitive teams still. But yeah, I feel like he does scale on the splits a little bit. And then the other thing that I'll give Spirax credit for is I feel like there isn't a single archetype of champion that I have seen this guy play like bad on. Like I've never said about Spirax like, oh, I don't like his mage play, or I feel like his melee play, like melee play is better than mage play. You know, like oh, I think he's like better AP than AD champions. Like
I never really liked his quirky play.
This is better than Jimian.
maybe that's yeah.
Spirax is a player that I think the biggest thing of growth I've seen from him is that it feels as though he is always looking for his angle in ways that a lot of other players don't. And he doesn't always find the angle, partly because, I mean, oftentimes there's just like no angle there. But if there is an angle, you know he'll go for it.
Maybe it's just because he's an Azir player, man.
Out of curiosity, since I don't get to do Challenger stuff with you guys anymore,
brag about it.
It's that LCS caster Rafa.
Keep going.
Did you guys know he cast LCS?
Wait,
Shut
guys?
the
Oh my
fuck
god!
up.
Anyway. I'm next to LCS caster Rafa.
Wait,
No.
hold on, hang on. I must get off the team and read Veteran's message from earlier, as he left you a message, Mark. You want to see what it was?
Yeah, sure.
Just here to support Rafa. What's up, bro? Good on you spending time with these peasants when you could crush them under your feet.
That is 10 out of 10.
I had to be off the team for that one.
Oh my god.
Anyway, continue,
Beautiful.
Rafa.
Love it.
Thank you, Michael. Oh, dude, anytime I've called Veteran Michael, he's like, usually only my girlfriend calls me Michael. That feels really fucking weird.
Continue.
Anyway.
I'm going to start calling him Michael.
I don't know him, so.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna start calling you Michael.
Anyway.
I've never really interacted with Veteran, to be honest.
When I did one of Spirax's interviews from spring of this year, one of the things that he said he was trying to work on and improve was now that they no longer had Diamond being a major voice for the FlyQuest Challengers team, he felt like it was on him to step up and be a shot caller for the team, but it also affected his own laning and his play. And so he's always very self-critical about his own mistakes and his shortcomings. And I know that, you know, being on the topic of how he always scales into the season, I wanted to kind of check in on who is the shot caller for FlyQuest Challengers these days. Is it still Spirax taking it upon himself to lead, or is it
Challengers?
Yeah,
Winsome, dude.
Oh, it's Winsome.
Me.
Yeah, we actually don't really know, but we kind of assume it's Winsome, and the team credits Winsome for most map calls.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Waiter, can you plug in my phone? It's dying.
No.
So
Where's the
So okay, so I want to then segment this into how this will look for FlyQuest LCS going into tomorrow against Energy. Because right now,
maybe it'll absorb the energy.
For those that do not know, Spica was recently on an episode of The Dive where he was talking about, I mean, there's not like a single thing that is like bad about their play. When they talk about their scrims and they talk about how their games go, it's always, you know, it's like, is our macro bad? No, it's not really bad. Is our shot calling bad? No, it's not bad. Is our laning bad? No, it's not necessarily. There's not like a glaring mistake that can just point in review and go, oh yeah, this was really bad. It's what happens is it just seems like it's like rare on game to game, case by case, where they just go, oh, well, we made this mistake that shouldn't really happen, but we did, and it snowballed, and we couldn't recover. So how do we fix that going in the future? I don't know. Don't make the same mistake again.
It's a simple get good.
Well,
that's what it boils down to. That it's not me like memeing on that one. It's literally them just saying we just got to get good. It's like they got that they're saying we can't make those mistakes. I was like, and it's one of those hard things too, where you know what the mistake is, but
Yeah, I agree. That sounds like the most cope answer I've ever heard.
then right.
To me, it's just like sometimes you need to make a change to make a change.
Yeah.
I bet on this podcast a few weeks ago that they would fire the coach, which they did not do.
Actually, Manny and I were aligned with that. Yeah.
And it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with the coach. It's just sometimes like you need a change.
Yeah.
For the sake of change.
I do agree that a change needed to be made. The thing I find funny is this change. Now, I don't know how long they've been sitting on the idea of like, okay, the change we're gonna make is swapping Spirax with Vikla. But like Vikla and some other third-party interview, I think it was with Degon, is talked about, I feel like I'm the 10th place mid. Like, I'm playing like the 10th place mid. I'm not playing well.
Which is wild because he was rank 1. It's the saddest part. He was rank 1 in solo queue. And this guy, I was on Hotline League yesterday, and I was like pulling up GLOL or GOL stats to check stuff, and I pulled up Flight Quest because obviously Flight Quest is a big topic on that show.
Yeah.
Mid lane KDAs, he said 1.6. It's brutal. Like KDA doesn't say everything about a player, but like if you're playing like that much Azir and your KDA is that low, and like just eye test, I've seen some. The one Azir game, I think he might have played it versus NRG, but he whiffed like 4 ults. I think it was like his first or second Azir game of the split. It was like, oh my god, man! I was like, that looks like me out there. It was that bad. Like it was really bad.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to make a change. Sometimes you're not performing on stage, you know. And hey, it's worked a couple times this year. TL fired Marin, got a lot better. 100 Thieves in the spring, they got a third goat. They had Bjergsen, they had Double Lift. Halfway through the split, they got Koss because they fired him. As soon as that happened, they got way better. They got 2 goats and a scapegoat. It was great. That's what we need.
I think you got a patent that one.
Third goats.
Yeah.
I will say, I think the TL EU bootcamp helped him a lot. They did give that a lot of credit, but
for
their improvement.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying it's not a rational thing.
One of the,
baseball, this happens all the fucking time.
Yeah, by the coach, the team gets better for no reason.
Basketball happens all the fucking time. It's like,
and why shouldn't it happen in esports?
We can't afford to fire our star player, so we're gonna fire the coach and see if that works.
Sometimes just having that little bit of change, it's a mentality thing. People kind of forget that these are still humans. These are players who are affected by emotions, and sometimes small changes like that can be a huge mental reset for players to go
Also,
into.
some NBA players make $150 million over 5 years, and coaches make about $5 to $10 million.
A much easier compromise.
Business is business. I'm afraid.
Following up on just speaking in general, and just because I think there's probably a lot of like PR answers he's giving in the dive, but I also think that he's trying to be as truthful as he can, and he's trying to be real. And one of the things that he talked about is, we were so confident that with our positive scrim rate, so when we went 0-6 in the first 2 weeks, it was just like, what the fuck is happening? Why is it not translating on stage? And it was funny because in spring, they would lose a majority of their scrims, but they were doing super well in LCS.
Yeah.
So surprisingly for them, the 1 week they got 3-0 in LCS, they were doing poorly in scrims. So they're like, wow, like scrims is just like giving us false confidence going into the week. I don't know. But for Spirax, I'm excited for this guy. I don't know what he's going to do for the LCS squad in terms of chemistry or anything, but I mean, if he just gets to play a lot more confidently than Vikla, then cool. And if he does well, and I hope he does well, then more than likely he'll be brought on for the rest of the week. And if he's brought on for the rest of the week, then we will get a super fucking hype matchup on Friday, because it'll be Team Liquid versus FlyQuest, Spirax versus APA. It will literally be Maryville mid versus former Maryville mid.
NA mids.
NA
mids.
We get Insanity versus APA this week too.
True. Yeah, that's Thursday.
I'm really glad that we've imported so many good mids like APA, Insanity, and Spirax.
It's really good that we did import Spirax from Canada.
Yeah, it's fucking insane that we can't fucking bring up any native NA talent. We always have to import.
Yeah, I know.
I had a great take about Copy on Hotline League.
Oh God!
I finally got to say the take that I've been saying.
Copy got robbed.
like Copy was better than all these guys except for Insanity.
Yeah.
But he was. And I'm not saying that APA and Spirax haven't improved. Because
I think APA and Spirax definitely have improved.
APA improved a lot.
Yeah,
Copy was better than Insanity for a while.
Yeah, he was. And that's why I will, die on that hill that Copy got robbed. That Copy
he did.
100% should have been LCS a long time ago.
It's sad because it also feels like, I know that it's been, quick stints, but I think for Insanity, like part of why I've loved Insanity on TSM is that he plays with a different approach to the game, and it's winning TSM games. That's why the Ruby substitution made no sense. Ruby played 3 fucking mages when Insanity's been playing ADs and hard push. Mm-hmm. All split. Like, that's why he's playing the Graves, right? Because that's how Boogie functions with the team.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that, fun fact, Copy was the person that played the most Graves in Academy and Challengers.
It was he was playing the Graves, I think, before a lot of other people started.
Yeah,
really picking it up
he was
in the
playing it with
Tryndamere too.
Cloud9. I mean, because it enabled Malice to play the way he wanted to play the game.
The fucking even Karthus. So he just plays like, dead push, and the jungler can brain off and just fight for fucking everything.
Yeah.
Right? And like to see, like, it almost adds validity as to why Copy retired and how unfair it was towards him.
Yeah.
Between Fudge getting role swapped and being bad at the role, I have nothing against Fudge as the player.
He's a great top laner.
It's more so against C9, like, for making this change in the first place to get Summit. And Fudge's comment about coaches is really fucking funny if you think about that in
Fudge is
hindsight,
funny.
which is coaches try to get the best players and want to import because it makes sure that they have less of a job to do, which in a sense is true.
Holy shit.
And we've talked with
God, I love
like a
Fudge.
lot of coaches.
Love
Being
Fudge.
a coach for LCS is
Did
more.
he say that in the Dagon interview?
Yeah. Being a coach for LCS sometimes is more ego management than it is actually coaching. And that's real. Like,
That's all sports.
I mean, it is real. It's all sports. It is. But also, like, I mean, Fudge isn't wrong in that aspect. Like, they're getting the org to spend more money so that they don't have to do as much of a job. It is true. It just adds more validity as to why Copy retired. And it really fucking sucks because, like, we were always on the high horse for this guy. His teammates were on the high horse for him, like, and he just never got a shot.
Every former teammate of him too.
And now, now to see APA, Insanity play well, APA have a nice debut, and Spirax compete as well. Like, I understand why it's now. I'm so fucking happy for these guys.
Me too.
But why wasn't it before with Copy when we were constantly saying he was good enough and was at times better than a lot of these players?
I do want to say one thing. This might just be me jaded towards how a lot of teams viewed Academy. It did feel like a lot of things we would talk about. And this was particularly important before last year. Last year, I think we made teams listen to Academy. We made them listen to challengers because before then, they would never really listen to those casters. But it was one of those things that a lot of teams had to learn that we know what we're talking about. We're not just talking heads out there. Even if I like to meme like, I'm a shit caster and stuff like that. At least I know what I'm talking about like 10% of the time. So that's more than most people I'd want to believe.
I think it also speaks to the difficulty that people have with like actually judging how strong a player is unless you see them interact, right? And when Champsky was active, we got to see a little bit more of that. And it really, I think, opened the eyes of a lot of people that the individual skill gap between like most or the upper end of Academy players and the lower end of LCS is really not that big.
Okay, so this is true. And this brings up another point. First off, why the fuck someone on that premise was Armeo not on a team? How the fuck? This guy was perma top 10 in CQ. And
he's also been permanently the best jungler in like Academy Challengers.
And permanently high rank in World CQ even, where he was one of the strongest players that we had because we tracked that split.
Yeah.
Sadly for him, I want to say it's the pre-Dokla era because Armeo, formerly Grigney, had gotten chances in the LCS, and every time he didn't do well.
Yeah, and I understand that.
But that's the thing.
I understand
that's the thing, and but you have to remember that there is a pre-Dokla era. There is a before Dokla got back onto the LCS where people looked at if you had played in LCS and then moved down to Challengers Academy, you were not good enough to be an LCS, so you are not getting back to LCS.
I really hate that my gut reaction to your take is, God damn it, this sounds dumb, but it's kind of right.
That's
Like,
the
yeah.
worst thing. It is a dumb comment that is true. Like, I'm not saying this because I believe that.
Now,
I would also argue that there's been a major zeitgeist in the League of Legends world that if you're not a carry jungler, you are a bad jungler.
Yeah.
that's true. If you're not the Lee Sin player, then
not
It's like
Yeah.
X-Smithy
Bad jungler,
was,
and
I still think in the history of LCS,
He was
one
not
of
a
the
great
best
Lee Sin.
junglers that we've ever had.
Yeah.
And he was not a carry jungler.
I mean, the best two junglers pre-Blabber that NA has ever
Smithy
had.
Meteos.
Yeah, Smithy and
Yep.
Meteos.
I mean, Meteos, when he first started, was more of a carry.
Now,
He was a Zac player.
I'm talking about when he first started.
We're talking about like Elise.
Yeah,
videos.
that's
Oh,
Back up,
okay.
Like
fair,
the
fair.
40 CS.
yeah, but also the way he carried was very much more cerebral.
yes.
And was about getting resources on himself to like take less risk later.
He understood how to maximize the fact that Cloud9 was winning every single lane, and he didn't use that time, wastefully. He ensured that he could counter jungle
Yeah. Yep.
and actually get like a CS. That was like one of the first times where like anyone outside of Diamond Procs would be like, hey, I can actually get a gold lead on the enemy jungler, and I can actually use the stat advantage.
So while I agree with you, Alex, Armeo coming into this year as a jungler had finished top 3 or top 2 in 4 regular seasons straight. And
I know.
4 playoffs straight.
I know.
Or no, 3 playoffs straight.
I know.
Because Proving Grounds 21, they got knocked out.
I know.
But also, there were Academy playoffs, and there was that Northern Arena tournament that TL won. And the Academy playoffs, TL, they ended up winning in summer.
Look,
So
I know.
technically, besides one bottom 4 where they bombed out and got upset, and that was not Armeo's fault.
True.
Armeo took top 2 in the last 4 regular seasons, and out of 7 tournaments, and minus that one, 6 tournaments, was top 2 and won fucking 4 of them.
Yeah.
While being perma top 10 in CQ.
I know.
And this player didn't have a job.
Yeah, because people still have a stigma against that. Like people, it's not me saying this because
But, like-
I think that is a stupid stigma to have.
No. I don't disagree with you about the stigma against Armeo and that archetype of player, but how can you look at that and not give that player a job for the next split?
Because you don't pay attention.
But that's like how. Again, like this.
I'm telling you, that is
yeah.
how. They don't pay attention, and we're now like because of the work we've put in. And yes, I'm tooting our horn on this one because we have put some fucking effort into Academy and Challengers to make it what it is now. Like all of us, we are getting people to listen to us and to look at these players in a new light. Like
I do not credit us on this.
I think a lot of the groundwork has been placed down by a lot of the people behind the scenes as well.
But also, if you take that resume and put that in any other profession, how is that person not picked up?
So you're telling me NA teams are bad at roster construction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? He might have said no. But also, I would just like to say and continue that streak that Armeo as a coach won a regular season and playoffs, and now as a player is winning another regular season.
Yeah, he's
So
a good player.
if he does win this regular season,
I hope
and they
to God he
take
does.
top 2 in playoffs,
I hope to God
I
he
have
does.
the best tweet. That's
want
all I will say. But it is fucking ridiculous that this player was passed up on.
Yeah,
And it is an undeniable resume. So like to see him doing well now, yeah, it's great, but it's also kind of a fucking crime towards him. To see Copy not playing while peers around him are doing great, yeah, that's great, but it's also such a fucking crime towards him. Like
Split at AP mids.
yeah, I mean, I just
AP, NA mids.
Yeah.
it's so sad that like this is where some things went.
Yeah. And it's actually interesting too that TL and Fly are two of the teams that made this change, It's like, you're partway through the split. Things aren't going well. They have this really cool, novel, new concept that I don't think anyone's ever tried before where, say if something's going wrong in the main team, they have
a secondary.
like a lower roster, some sort of challengers team, academy team where you can pull a player from maybe. I don't know if anyone's heard of it.
Never heard of it.
But they've
But
got.
that sounds impossible.
They
Do you
got 'em.
think
That
if
sounds like
we
2022.
do you think if we just started telling LCS teams that Challengers players were imports, they'd start playing them?
I think so. Would you say, Josh,
Actually-
specifically that by not retaining their academy rosters, LCS teams have kneecapped
Weird.
themselves?
I think
Would you say they've kneecapped themselves?
yeah, I think I would say that. I think it's remarkable that both teams, or 2 of the 3 teams that retained their academy roster or challengers rosters, have made substitutions. One of them has already done fantastic, and the one that hasn't yet made a substitution has a fucking plan for a 6-man roster.
Would you
It's
say
almost as
that-
though having good players outside of your main roster is valuable.
Would you say that they kneecap themselves in a similar way to this?
Sorry, Josh. What happened here? What would you do?
Oh,
What did you
no.
do?
Racket to the
I went to serve. The racket goes. Because I set up this camera because I really wanted to see like what my form was. Because I can see Manny's form, but I can't see mine. And I goes, and as soon as I set up the camera, it goes, and I hit myself right here in the shin.
This was literally his first serve.
literally the first
my
serve after
God.
setting up the camera.
Kids, this is why you stretch.
That's nothing to do with stretching.
I've been waiting to set up that kneecap joke for this entire episode. Just so you know,
So happy you did.
I've been saving it.
So happy you did.
I love how Manny walks in and is like, so do you want any surprises today? And then I told him about the Spirax one.
Yeah.
And then we get this surprise.
This is
That's
Wait,
a good one.
thanks,
That's a good one.
Hold on. For Matt, did you hear the audio on that clip?
I couldn't hear it hitting your knee. In fact,
You could not?
No, the first 2 times I watched it, I was like, did he pull something? And then
I
I
thought you
realized
pulled
that you hit
something, too.
yourself.
I thought you
Yeah.
pulled something in that as well.
Here, I just went to.
Okay. I don't think he hit the serve fast enough for it to be this, but it sounded like the net a little bit to me too.
Yeah. No, I realized that my serve form is really shit right now. But
Yeah, you don't have a lot of
Which is-
you don't have a lot of full extension.
yeah,
This
exactly.
is funny because he taught me how to serve.
Yeah.
Did he teach you how to extend fully at the top?
I actually
Maximum
did.
Power? Good.
Yeah.
From someone who has never served before, I could hit it.
for maximum power.
I could serve from both sides
True.
some of the time, like half the time.
Honestly, up until game 6 of the set, you were doing a pretty decent job, and then you
extend full
because it was his
speed
first
on
day
your
learning how to overhand serve, I said he could triple fault,
Nice.
and for his
Well,
last
hey, I
3
did
points,
well in that set until that.
until that, yeah. But he ended it with 9 straight faults.
9
I have a-
consecutive faults.
I have a problem with
Height.
tennis
Yeah.
because I played baseball.
Velocity.
as a
Yeah.
kid. And so tennis is very counter to how baseball is.
That's what
Ball
Manny
speed.
was saying.
Baseball, you want hit
Ball
ball
striking.
far. You want hit ball very far. You don't want hit ball control.
God bless chat.
that was
unless
the
you're
problem
bunting.
I was having today.
Unless you're bunting.
Kind of bummed we
go
didn't
control.
put around the office,
Hit
but,
ball
you know.
far.
Hit ball far.
I sent a
would've
tennis
we'll have
ball
to
to
do it
space today. It
for
did
fun.
happen.
True.
Hey, you know it'd be a great sketch comedy that we could like run on a Twitter but never on an NACL broadcast?
What, talking about League of Legends?
Saying that, hey, we changed the requirements, and in order for you to be on this broadcast, you're going to need to take Korean lessons.
Can we hit up Sophie on?
We feel like it'll help appeal more to our teams. And fans.
That's fucking it. That's a fucking content bit. We fucking get players to go do Sophie On's Korean lessons.
Oh, and then they can pose as imports.
Get
and
ready.
that's how they finally get promoted to LCS.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god!
It
Get ready to learn
fucking
Korean,
will.
buddy.
What do you?
Oh, that's good.
Actually, we
That's
should.
good.
The
That's so
fact
good.
that I feel like we actually just proved on this couch that we as a broadcast have lost our balls, because we've yet to pitch any bit involving just the punchline of "Get ready to learn Korean, buddy."
Shit. You're right. We should have done that a long time
Damn.
ago.
What if you just like had a cold open? We're like trying to like elect a commissioner for Challengers League, and the very first thing they say, like matching the screenshot, is "Get ready to learn Korean, buddy."
Oh my god. That is so good.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't wait for it to be learn Spanish and Portuguese so we can go play with the Brazilians.
Just wait.
And Latinos.
Wait 2 years.
The what?
Latinos.
The what?
But
I said.
Sorry, I was talking about relevant regions.
I feel like doing it now.
I would want a guest on the CB Law thing though.
Yeah,
I legitimately I tried hitting him up on Twitter because I actually would, and then Coco and Return decided to meme it, but too bad they aren't casters anymore.
Sad.
Yeah, so they can't. So get good.
I just want you to know, Rainbow 7 beat VCS at Worlds or at MSI this year, so
Yeah.
we are just as
how many
relevant.
wins
Bro,
did
that's
as-
great. Everyone beat VCS at
Yeah, I was
Worlds
about
this
to
year.
say, everyone did.
But Brazil didn't beat anyone.
Ooh.
They beat themselves.
I'm just saying, this disrespect on the LLA, I will not tolerate it.
Well, okay. Let's.
When's
be
the
real.
last time they
LLA
played
is
against
not
each
as
other
good as
over
back when it was separated between North and South.
I mean, Lyon was legendary.
Yeah,
for-
that you know what I'm talking about. They were like, I still miss that we had like it was separated and North was so good, and it's really that was probably one of the most tragic things that nobody knows about in League of Legends is that region got gutted and then got transformed into the LLA, and most of those teams went poof.
Yeah, different time. Let's start winding down because we are at what's our run time? An hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mark's joining the team.
He's been on the team
Should
this
we
whole time.
highlight
Yeah.
that APA had the best debut 2 games of any player in LCS history?
Yeah, but he went
Has he
against
really?
He went against Immortals one day, so
He
does it really
did.
count?
But it's also true, if you guys want to take a look at this, our lovely stats guy,
Oh,
Liam,
wow.
for the LCS, has compiled a list of the 8 players to go deathless in their first 2 games.
that's quite
Wow.
a
APA.
quite a roster
Luger,
of people.
Luger, Tactical, Rainover. I didn't realize Rainover did too.
I mean, Rainover was killing it when he came over to LCS.
Speaking of junglers that were
They won
great at
17 and
control.
won that split.
Yeah,
Best
Bloodwater. Oh my God, that's a name I haven't seen in Hot 8.
Hey,
Vulcan.
that's a collegiate champion right there, Bloodwater.
Oh, I'm thinking Vulcan Esports. You remember?
I'm thinking the
remember that?
Jana Tornado Steel, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Manny knows exactly what I'm talking about. God, that was still. I watched that one live, and I remember like in my room just trying not to scream because I was like, "What was that? How did that happen?"
So I will say, I was biasedly campaigning as someone who on the LCS does not have a Player of the Week vote for APA Player of the Week because of this. I was trying to spread propaganda. People were not buying it,
Oh,
unfortunately.
they're weak.
I mean, they kind of did by giving it to Insanity.
APA is the most. He's got the most kills, which makes him the best by far.
True.
This is very, very, very.
This is why every
solid
support sucks.
analysis.
It's not like Tristan is fucking busted right now. You know?
Manny, I appreciate you spreading the propaganda. Can you share with the class what what I said in the Slack channel on day 1 of his debut?
In the Slack channel, Marc put a message in like the LCS talent Slack channel saying locking in my Player of the Week vote as APA for tomorrow because I know he's going to like piss Smurf all over. Like
He is going to.
Nice.
Who did they play against? Quid.
Quid.
Yeah, I was like, hey, Emin, because we by the end of day 3 of every week, we're supposed to like put in our Player of the Week votes, and it was at the end of day 2, and I just watched APA like completely have a fucking field day. Even if it was against Immortals, I was like, I'm gonna submit my Player of the Week vote right now. And then day 3, Emin messages me. Gabby and Clayton is like, hey guys, we're winding down on the day. You need to get your Player of the Week votes. And I responded, what?
I did not think my volume was on.
Marc, would you say that he took a dookie all over them?
Bro.
I mean, Emin just asked, like, can I get your Player of the Week vote? And I almost had half of mine to be like, am I a joke to you? I said it, but I just said, Emin, I already sent in my Player of the Week vote already yesterday.
You're such a biased fuck.
I love it. I fucking love it.
You gotta have more faith in yourself, Marc. By voting APA, it's a throwaway vote for your heart.
Marc,
you gotta
you
value
been-
your heart more than that. You
Marc
knew it
has
was
been-
gonna happen.
Marc's been throwing the LCS producers for a loop this week.
Oh, do we want to talk about that story?
About Dookie Gate.
Oh, Dookie Gate.
This is where Marc lends us his story to the peasants. behind the scenes.
I guess we're going
I'm memeing.
straight into. Well, is this LA thing of the week?
Sure.
I don't.
I mean, it
Fire
could be
away.
yours.
We're wrapping up, so that does mean most
yeah.
everything.
All right.
Degon said, "Show me more tennis highlights." I would say, Degon, show up to tennis. You could see him.
Holy shit,
Damn.
man!
He's in the group
Been
chat.
clapping.
You can watch me lose to Josh in 4K.
Do we see in 4? I think we see like in 8K vision.
Love you.
We have.
Bro, you're down the wrong rabbit hole. What's the most LA thing of the week?
Give us the Dookie Gate
Wait.
story.
Okay.
Oh.
Anyway.
Wait. Should we save Dookie Gate because it's kind of a banger?
Okay. Like let's go around the table.
Okay. We're gonna. I learned that there are no automated car washes in LA, and it's a big thing to wash your car by hand out here.
Ooh.
Wait,
There
what?
are some. There's one
Wait.
by my house, but yeah.
Wait,
It's
what?
very few.
Wash your-
It's like a bunch of manual car
Wait,
washes.
what?
Or like it's a thing.
That's got to be a pure LA thing because I'm from Orange County.
This ties into my tire conspiracy, by the way.
Because I'm from Orange County, which is just south of here and not very far, and we have tons of automated car washes.
Yeah, but it is
like
a burden.
tons.
I
it
live
might
in-
I think
just
it's
be
a
city
Hollywood thing.
I live in North Hollywood, and there is car washes, automated car
Yeah,
washes.
the car wash is fucking everywhere.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, but a lot of them are like manual. You know,
No,
like,
the
you gotta, like,
mines are
I mean, there's both.
automated.
yourself.
The ones by my house, there's no do-it-yourself by my house.
Well, okay, but we also have the Grove where you can go get your car fucking waxed and shit while you shop.
Yeah, but that's still in a way is you pay for it, but it's still manual. You know.
Well,
So
yeah.
what's the story?
Yeah, what's the
Yeah,
story?
what's the
There is
story?
none. It's an LA thing.
Oh, okay.
Well, you want to know
Cool.
mine of coming up here?
My most LA thing is because of LA traffic. I was late to APA's debut,
Oh,
and I might have snuck into the LCS to see APA debut,
Nice.
but I saw TLA there, and they were rooting for him, which was cool.
I was almost late here because someone decided to light some palm trees on fire on the 101.
It's a very LA
Oh,
thing.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I was like,
Is
we
Josh
might have
going
our
to
first
retrieve?
like late podcast.
Yeah, so I was
entry. He got
driving
here
up,
with, like 3
and
minutes.
part
on
of the freeway was shut down
He's got
because,
like a Dookie.
and I'm like, there's smoke ahead, and I'm thinking maybe it's a festival, maybe it's something like that, because it's a 101 in the middle of downtown with all these buildings. There's nothing to set on fire there. There's no trees like brush stuff like that, and so as I get closer, I see the fire trucks. I'm like,
That was a
okay,
big
maybe a
Dookie,
car
too.
caught on fire. Maybe a car blew up. Then I look up and I see these palm trees on fire. And I'm like, oh, that's what's happening. And you look down below and you see all the debris from the burning palm trees on the freeway. And it's all over the place. And you're like, I didn't even know that those could catch on fire. That's just something I've learned today. And yeah, I was stuck in traffic for a while. It was fun.
All right.
LA.
Well, I can continue my most LA thing of the week is I believe the only time I went out of the house. So I mentioned how I got the gun, right?
Guns.
As a trophy. I also won $400. And so what I ended up doing with it is I bought out their entire stock of chicken walkers.
Holy shit, that's a lot.
And some extra guys because they had run out of chicken walkers.
Oh my god, there's some more.
How efficient is Warhammer just farming Josh in the ecosystem?
He reinvested that $400.
I know.
Into Warhammer.
The-
Okay,
You know-
but here's the thing: is the $400 was $400 store credit that could only be spent on more Warhammer. I mean, like,
I thought it was like you got cash, $400
no.
cash.
I mean,
If that was the case, I'd be like,
Josh.
Josh, come on.
Josh, I know you love Warhammer, but I really
Yeah.
gotta say it's even invaded more parts of your life. And when I first met you, I really never thought that you would be on a podcast like this, but let alone
Neither did I.
encourage one that's actually a pro gun. I really wasn't expecting that when I first met you.
yeah,
but
I won a gun
Wow, it's
and I
changed
bought
you.
more guns.
And he's got feet on the podcast.
I've got feet.
Just
really, a pro gun podcast created by Josh is not what I thought would happen this year.
But look at that. Look at that. I got these because they're my favorite models. Or not my favorite.
We'll
but
see
some
how
of my
accurate
favorite models.
the YouTube censors are for
But
that one.
also because they're good.
Oh, okay.
They're like these are like the only good models in my army going into the new patch.
Word. Do you want my most LA thing of the week?
Yes.
So I went home for the 4th of July,
Lucky you.
Nice.
and I returned on Monday. I did on Tuesday night of last week. And I got in at about midnight to LAX, got home, paid for like a $60 Uber, unfortunately. Got home at like 1 in the morning.
Oof.
Got to my door. We moved into this place recently, within the last couple weeks. And basically what happened was we have our door is kind of old. The place is like old. It's nice, but it's old. And our door's deadbolt has some issues.
Is it old?
It likes to get stuck.
So it's old.
It is old. It likes to get stuck, and we had made a pact to not use the deadbolt until they come and fix it. And unfortunately, somebody forgot and deadbolted the door shut at night. So I was standing outside of my door at 1 a.m., and I couldn't fucking open it.
Oh, no.
And so I was trying for a while. I was banging my head into the door. And, of course, my one roommate that lives on the bottom floor was also gone.
No.
So I couldn't get anyone to come to the door. I was calling my other 3 roommates that were in there, and no one was picking up because it was like 1 in the morning. I tried to go through our porch door. There was no dice. I tried to go around to our garage. I still couldn't get in. And I came back around, tried to open it over and over again, but you just can't get it from the outside. It's just like, it's broken, basically. And it was like, at this point, it's like 1:35, maybe 1:40, and I finally get one of my roommates on the phone, and he comes down to let me in, and he tries to open the door, and the door doesn't fucking he can't open the door from the inside either. So we're both trying to open the door from either side of the door. He has to let me in via the porch, basically the porch door.
Holy
and I got in.
fuck.
And so I went to bed at 2 a.m.
Oh my god.
Woke up the next morning at like 7:30, and then went to work LCS.
Nice.
It was bad. It was a rough one. I also watched
You just fucking click in the middle of
Transformers Rise of the Beasts last night while high as balls, and that was kind of fun.
I don't know why that just reminds me of a story of the time I had to break into one of my friend's house because he forgot his key. It was a new apartment, and so they had a balcony that you could get to by going through someone else's balcony. So I climbed up to that other person's balcony, and it was like a 6-foot gap that I had to jump. And it was like second floor. So I jumped from it like Spider-Man style, and my friend just like, how did you know you're going to make that jump? I said, I didn't. If I fell, you're going to take me to the hospital.
Come on.
Jeez. All right, Mark.
All right.
It's time for Dookie Gate.
Dookie Gate.
I don't know if I want it.
So,
Can't talk to this man for a moment.
the tweet us, delete us. I gotta save it, man. Anyway,
What the fuck? Keep going.
E.g. Dignitas. I'm casting with Azale, and in the moment, I remember I think JoJo dropped the Dookie on this guy's face.
Specifically the face.
Yeah. Just dropped the Dookie on his face, and it just kind of happened in the moment. And
I never thought my language would make it to LCS.
Sometimes you accidentally drop a Dookie.
Have I been talking
On their face.
Have I been talking about my poops too much lately, Rafa?
No, it's
Is this what
because
encouraged it?
in the moment,
I know I Chipotle twice last week.
in the moment, I definitely remember, like, this was a week where I wanted to cast more like the old Rafa, and the old Rafa relied on a bleep and a censor button in big hype moments. And so originally I wanted to say, and JoJo just shits on this guy. And I was like, oh, I can't say shit. I've already gotten to talk about, please don't say shit again. After I did, it's just a cat. It can't do shit call for 100 Thieves in week 1. So I pivoted, and I'm like, Dookie. And then drops the Dookie on this guy's face, which is why when you listen to the call, there's like a slight hesitation. It's just a slight hesitation. It's the brain working. I'm like, Dookie. Drops a Dookie on his face. And then I just kept rolling. And I was like, damn, I actually just said Dookie on the broadcast. And I was like, maybe they'll forget about it. Azale brings it up a game later. And we're just in the middle talking about downtime and narrative for the 4th game of the day. And he's like, I just can't believe you said Dookie earlier today. I'm like, no, I thought we were forgetting. Like, I ain't forgetting that one. You just kind of threw one out there.
Poll for the room. What would have been worse, Dookie or Turd?
Turd would definitely have been worse.
Yeah.
I think
Turd sounds more offensive than Dookie.
What's the South Park where
Turd sandwich and
no, they, like, find a poop,
Rhodey says turd is worse.
and they just like think of
That's
like
the official stance.
a bunch of like
Yes.
words to like call like
Twitter.
a poop, like a bunch of like different like names.
Oh.
I just said to try. It's like it's Mr. Mackey when someone like poops in the urinal.
oh
It's
my
that
god.
episode.
Oh yeah. Took a dookie in the urinal.
I mean, like a more.
Decided to drop a little.
I'll tell
Pinch a
you.
little
From the urinal.
I'll tell you what the more offensive thing I could say instead of turd or dookie is sewer pickle. That is just
Who took a little sewer pickle in the urinal?
that is
Dude,
like
just
the
drop
most
the kids
foul
off on this
way of
guy's
just
pool.
saying poop. At that point, I'd rather you
That
just say
would've been
shit
great.
or poop.
That would good, Josh.
Sewer pickle just sounds foul.
Do it. That
No,
would be
no.
Fucking solid.
No.
I will say, Mark, you should ask the LCS for a bleep button. You
Yeah,
really
you should.
There is a internal control room side of this story.
No.
I
But,
experienced.
well,
Yeah.
because honestly, like if Yumi went down like that and you said that can't do bleep and you bleep it, that's like actually the right time for that, and it does.
It would be
bang.
really funny.
As someone that did many a cast with you when you had a bleep button,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the bleep
It-
button adds a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the one moment where I actually feel like using it. I don't know if Riot like ever like want to do that because it's a more polished product, but that is pretty funny.
Yeah. There are times I know we've definitely asked for soundboards to use on the broadcast if we wanted to lean more into the entertainment direction that the LCS is pushing, and we're kind of at a maybe, we don't know, and because we're winding down the summer season, they probably don't want to experiment with it. But I do want to pivot over to Manny because Manny has the control room POV of that cast happening, which I will conclude with the conversation with the producers after
Mark,
the
can
end.
I make a quick introduction?
Sure.
You're right. They can't take any more risks on the LCS. They already brought me on once.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so Mark dropped his dookie on the cast, and we have one of our producers named Zeus. He turned to me and Coco. We sit next to each other in the control room. He turns to us and he goes, he looks down the line. He goes, "Did he just say dookie?" And we're like, "Yeah, I think he said dookie." and he's like, "I don't know how to react to this. I never in a million years would have thought that someone would have said dookie. Like, I don't even know what to do in this situation. Like,
I don't even know what to do in this situation.
do you find someone for saying dookie? Do you get a talking
get a
to
medal?
for saying dookie? Do you get
get a
props for saying dookie?
Yeah,
Like,
why
is
don't
that
we
a
give
good thing?
trophies out for it instead?
Like, how many in the 11 years of LCS, how many that might very well be the first dookie dropped on the
Could be.
LCS
It really
broadcast.
could.
You're
It was-
breaking new ground.
Can we make like a trophy or a medal? Let's make like a little plaque for
Mark.
Mark on this.
He was just in disbelief. He was like, "What?"
We
Mark,
really
Mark,
should have
Mark.
clipped it, and then
If you use the word areolas on your next cast, I will give you $50.
What's areolas?
The part around the nipple.
oh boy.
That's you know what? I can talk about that. Oh shit! Wait, no, the cable.
Your mic went out. Oh my god.
Maybe not 50. I'll give you $20.
Let it be known it wasn't
$20.
production.
Okay.
He unplugged his own mic.
Okay, so but check this out. This is how you fit it in. The areolus is the area of the bumps around the nipple, right? The
Yeah.
nipple is a sensitive part of the body, and it must be protected.
Yeah.
Much like in a team fighting fortress composition, the AD carry is the most sensitive part of the comp. You must protect it. Otherwise, it will fall apart. So the front line is the areolus around the AD carry, and it must be protected at all costs.
I really want you to know, before you get it too deep into this, that it is singular areola and multiple areolas, not areolas.
You just got
just so
to
you know.
say it's the areola of effect. There's no other way around it.
Okay. Anyway.
But anyway.
To resolve this Dookie story, at the end of the day, now I wanted to be known when I said it's just a cat, it can't do shit. The producer at the end of the day, was asking for my pogs or player of the game. It's like, by the way, just come by the control room. I want to have a brief chat. And I was like, oh shit, it's about the shit, call. And the producer was Zeus was telling me, hey, by the way, I just want to let you know your casts today were phenomenal. Second, don't say shit again. And then we're good. And I'm like, okay, cool. My bad. He's like, yeah, just don't do it again. I did not get that same message at the end of the day. So I stopped by the control room anyway, just to make sure that I wasn't like left on the table unresolved. And I was like, sup, Zeus? Like, hey, Dookie. And then he says that, and I'm like, I don't know how to respond. And he kind of like nods, thinks to himself, and he's like, I like it. It's kind of got that youthful energy, and it's not shit, so it's not a curse word, and it's got some spunk to it, so I don't mind it. Emin, what'd you think about it? And Emin's like, yeah, I want to make a catchphrase out of it. Oh no, we're not saying you should like do it often, but it just
look. Mark, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bounty list for you, okay? I'm going to give you a bunch of words to work into your casts, and for everyone that you cross off the list at the end of the split, you'll get a cash incentive for it.
Oh my
goodness. Could we make like a bingo card out of this? Like
yes.
Where like so you make it so that each chain would be really difficult to get all 5 of them in a row. However, if he gets all 5 in a row, he gets like a bonus.
Yeah, I like where your head's at.
Yeah.
I like where your head's at.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah, what up?
I've got a take for you.
What's up?
That sounds bad from me, but would be a great take.
Is it making fun of me because I'm down?
No, it's one that you could actually sell.
Okay.
My take is that Skarner mains, they hate Seraphine because of the lore.
Uh-huh.
Lore doesn't mean shit.
Right now.
Emilio has an alt that removes Skarner R. I feel like all Skarner mains should now funnel their hate on Emilio.
He has a point. Seraphine can't
it's on
stop
his tail.
Lore doesn't matter. Seraphine has a lot of ways where you should never be able to
also
R.
on his pinchers too.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
You really should never be able to press R.
Tail. That's just
as Skarner.
That's being
on the Seraphine.
anti-Scorpion there.
That's called a tail.
No, you're just devolving them down to one singular aspect of them. They got pinchers too.
A point.
Look at this guy. He's just the anti-Scorpion.
Anyway, my point is
over here.
Skarner, the entire fun of Skarner is, a lot of it's in pressing that one button.
Yeah.
And at least Seraphine has to press a lot of buttons to dodge out on your one button. But now there's an alt in the game where Emilio just presses one button and you have no fun and it's way more powerful than you.
I do like that. I do like that a lot.
Lore doesn't mean shit. Skarner main should hate Emilio mains.
Yeah, honestly. I'm
Fuck
here
Emilio.
So by Skarner mains everywhere, you should just be addressing Captain Flowers.
Yeah.
See, this is why the take's funnier from MadMagical, because it sounds conspiracy. It's very...
It is very me. It is very me.
But then you can also make this,
maybe I'll put it on Twitter, but my phone's dying, and Manny wouldn't charge it.
Anyway. So, as we are wrapping up this podcast, I have one more thing to share, and it was my original Most LA thing of the week, but then we did the Dookie, thing of a thing. But I still want to share this because when I found out about this, I have never laughed so hard in my life out of sheer embarrassment, but also just, wow, this is incredibly cursed. We must share with the world. And so, what was it? 4 days ago, on July 5th, was International Fried Chicken Day and National Kissing Day.
I know where this is going.
And...
oh, no.
I know that it was... I just thought it was funny. And the thing is, I didn't learn about either of these 2 days until I saw Josh's tweet about it. And if you didn't, then... no, you didn't. Anyway...
this is my circle, so not a lot of people saw it.
Yeah.
I've been listening to too many comedy podcasts. The fact this is coming out on the podcast, but continue.
Anyway, so I see Matt. I'm like, hey, Matt, you know what today is? And he's like, what? It's International Fried Chicken Day. It's also National Kissing Day. So I gave my homie Matt a kiss on the cheek for National Kissing Day, as bros do.
As bros do.
It's true.
So then I was like, obviously I should do the same for Josh. So I knock on Josh's door. And I hear hello? And I come in. Josh is in his bed. I was like, oh, damn, he must have been sleeping. So I was like, hey, I see you're comfortable, but did you know what today is? He's like, July 5th? I'm like, yeah.
6th.
Oh, my bad. International Fried Chicken Day, but also National Kissing Day. He's like, okay. And I'm like, well, I would normally kiss you on the forehead, but you seem comfortable in bed. So I'm just going to kiss your hand. So I take his right hand. There you go. And he's like, okay, thanks.
He's filming this whole thing.
Yes, and I did film this whole thing because it was going to be funny, and at some point I was going to say,
And it is funny. It is.
yeah.
Funny.
What I didn't know is what Josh then proceeded to tell me.
I told you we were going to tennis a couple days later.
Yep.
And what I told him is that, hey, Mark, so you know how you just walked in and took this video?
Wait, can I guess what you're doing?
Yeah, you can guess.
You're jacking off.
Yeah. He knocks on the door, and I'm not wearing my pants, and I'm like, okay, hold on, I need to cover up somehow because every time Mark knocks on the door and I say yeah, he interprets it as like come in, and I'm like, okay, well I'm gonna cover up. So I throw a blanket over. He comes in, does the whole thing.
I just realized what this means.
So he comes over, does his whole speech, and he's like, all right, well, I'm going to kiss your hand. I'm like, okay. he goes and kisses it.
I guessed what it was you were doing, and it took me that long to figure out what was it.
He asked me later on the way to tennis as I reveal this information to him. Wait, was that the hand you were using? Yeah.
Oh no.
You didn't need to hear that.
If I was driving, I would have pulled over because I was just so gone. I could not believe the misfortune, but also just sheer hilarity of the events. And I was like, wow. It just never occurred to me that was a possibility. I just because it doesn't cross my mind that if I'm entering you or Matt's room and potentially you guys are just, as Eugene Levy would say, trimming the salami, like it just.
Well, I'm gonna be
right-hand man.
I'm gonna be 100 with you, Mark. As somebody who has walked in right after one of my roommates has finished, I'm surprised you didn't smell it.
What the fuck? All right.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Oh my God. This has gone more off the
I'm
rails.
just letting you know.
This is why I saved the story for the end of the podcast.
I'm making an executive call to end this discussion.
And
this is over.
And with that, this has been Raising NA with your
Oh my God.
Cubby, Rafa, and Joshi, and our awesome guest, MadMagical.
What are we raising?
And producer. We're raising NA, baby.
You're raising me to
We're
be
raising
a big
domestic talent.
Oh no.
Thank you.
I'm learning all sorts of new grown-up things today.
You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, wherever you may find your convenient podcast platforms. Thank you so much. And sorry for that last story.
Happy International Kissing Day, everyone.
Yep. Goodbye.